Hello, and welcome to the Salcast on Saturday the 26th of May, 2012. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
You very nearly said Tuesday.
I very nearly said Tuesday. And Robert Kemp.
That I am.
That I am.
He is a Robert Kemp. Just the singular.
Is that going to be your crappy pop star name?
It
That
is.
I am.
That I am.
As opposed to Will I am.
And that's basically my answer to any question. Like, you know, your mama or something. You can just sort of turn around and say,
That I am. What?
So,
I'm not sure that's a good retort.
I don't know.
You fucking go, mate.
It's probably better than that.
That I am.
Well, it gets, well, you know, look, agreeing with people tends to, you know, win many arguments, or, you know, not
That's Rob's wisdom of the day. Agreeing with people tends to win many arguments.
well, or
For the other side. It's not just an argument if you agree with them.
it stops confrontation.
That's true. It's not about winning arguments, though.
Well, it depends who you're arguing with, I guess. If you're backing someone up, then you just agree with them, and that helps win the argument. I don't know.
Okay.
PS3s are way better than Xbox. That's
That
I am.
Wow, you're Mr. PlayStation.
I think you won that argument there, Rob.
We'll put this to the test. Either that, or people will just like get confused, raise an eyebrow, and slowly walk away.
That's another technique for winning
It is,
arguments.
yes.
It's probably more effective
Freak
than
them the
that I
fuck
am.
out.
Just raise an eyebrow. Which eyebrow do you think? I think most people. I don't know. It
Is
tends
there
to be
an
the left
eyebrow
eyebrow.
preference?
Yeah.
I
it's
find
the
it easier to raise my left eyebrow.
Yeah. Is that a...
I think I go right.
Go right.
My face muscles struggle with the right eyebrow for some reason.
It's your eyebrow handedness.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. I go left. Which way did Spock go? Because that's the important one. You'd have to flip it.
Yeah,
you're
'cause
looking
it's
at him.
TV.
No, surely it's
Yeah.
more important about if we pay attention to the one that's actually known as the people's eyebrow. Which way did the Rock go?
The Rock, yeah. See, I think it's on the left, which would be his right.
Or did he raise a different eyebrow depending on what he could smell cooking? So there's the bacon eyebrow,
That's how you could tell.
and there's the cheese eyebrow. So when he's making a cheese and bacon toasty, he just looks surprised.
Okay. What? The smell of cheese cooking. Just cheese. Just cooking.
Cooking a big old lump of cheese.
If you melt cheese, you're sort of cooking cheese,
I mean, fondue, really, basically.
I guess. Yeah. Can you smell what the Rock is cooking? Cheese. Cheese has a smell.
Yes.
Therefore, you can smell what it's cooking.
You just don't normally just cook a big lump of cheese, I think.
A cheese toasty it has cheese in it, therefore you can smell it. It's like when you're making some kind of bacon-based dish. Generally, you smell the bacon,
Bacon
and it might be difficult to tell what the rest of the dish is. You're still cooking bacon.
A bacon and bacon bake. Is that good?
No, it's chicken and bacon bake. Apart from that, it's like
Close to chicken
bacon
and
and bake.
Sounds much cooler.
I want to try a bacon and bacon bake.
You could technically do two different types of bacon. You could have like bacon rashers,
Yeah.
smoked and non-smoked, and then perhaps
Or maybe something a little more varied than that, like
lardons. Bacon lardons.
fucking lardon.
What's a lardon?
It's like a dice of
It's just like a
bacon.
chunk of meat, basically.
For some reason they're called lardons.
Oh, okay.
Because they have the lardon. that was my explanation about that.
Can you get bacon lardons then?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you could put bacon lardons and just bacon in a bake and call it a bacon and bacon bake.
If pigs had like more famous variants in their breed, I suppose you could have bacon from various
Well, you
different
can.
types of
I
pig.
mean, or you could have like Danish and English.
Danish and English bake. Oh, it's a bake-off. Bacon off.
Bacon off.
Bacon bake-off.
You have a bacon and bacon bacon.
Bacon and bacon bake-off.
Just have it's just when you start putting an N in there instead of and, it's bacon and bacon and bacon bacon.
Ah, I see. The
Bacon
end
and
and the apostrophes. Yeah.
Bacon.
Like Toys R Us.
Bacon.
Except they put the R the wrong way round to make it doubly
How do you
confusing.
pronounce that in Russian?
Do you have to
How do you
change?
pronounce the backwards R in Russian?
I
They
don't
can
know.
take the piss out of Toys R
Do
Us.
you have to change the intonation? So instead of saying "ah," you have to go "ah," because it's reversed. Toys R Us.
Mm.
Say it like a game show host. Maybe that's what they're going for. Toys R Us.
Possibly. The upward inflection in the middle of your name. So,
Ah.
video games.
Apparently.
News.
News! And?
Well,
What's the news?
It's been a bit of a crazy week, I suppose.
Has
in
it?
terms of- there's been a bit of
It's
news.
been a crazy week.
It's been a bit of news. Well, 38 Studios has been officially shuttered.
Well, sort of. They fired everyone,
Yeah.
but maybe they didn't get rid of the name.
I'm pretty sure that's as far as we're concerned, it's done. Which means,
So what
which
do they
begs the
make?
question: what's going to happen to the Kingdoms of Amalur?
Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah.
Is that were they the people that borrowed all that money off
Yeah,
from
that's why they shut
Stamford
down.
Rhode Island?
Yes,
What the frack was that about?
That's why they got shut down.
because they didn't pay it back.
they couldn't afford it.
I think they expected Kingdoms of Amalur to make more money or something.
Well, they're expecting.
75 million. What were they thinking?
That is quite insane.
Yeah, I think that whoever it is, I was going to say the mayor,
I was about
but
to say,
The mayor of Rhode
Rhode
Island
Island.
personally authorised this
I was about to
loan.
say whoever signed the check was probably a bit more at fault than the studio themselves.
what
Well, yeah,
congressman?
surely it's got to have been
Senator.
like whoever in Rhode Island wanted to give money to them didn't have any idea like how much video games actually cost to make or anything.
Well, the idea was that there'd be lots of jobs.
Yeah,
Right.
but I was like, how many jobs?
Well, no, there was something
Not
about they
enough.
were gunning for 3,500 or something. That they
What?
provide the state with like 3,500 jobs. My numbers might be off, but it was some really high figure.
Yeah, so who
And the
made
company
this deal?
employed 400 people, which is a bit different.
Yeah, exactly. Who made this deal? It's like
Mr. Dubman!
two different sides. It's like both sides have somehow got up. It's like, we're going to make 3,500 jobs, says the studio, and it's like, no, you're not. We're going to give you $75 million to make a game. That's way too much. What are you doing, you idiots?
Yeah, someone looked at it and then just sort of didn't look at it.
Yeah, they just signed some shit.
I mean, they made quite a big fuss out of like the idea that they're going to create a whole bunch of jobs, or have, I don't know, in Ireland for like support and DBA or whatever it is for the Old Republic. But if the Old Republic doesn't, the subscribers could drop off, none of those jobs are going to last, are they?
Yeah.
I mean, none of those World of Warcraft and possibly Eve, not even Eve though, I don't know, but constant support staff, it can't be that many.
Well, maybe this agreement was like on a longer term basis. Well, no, maybe
It can't be if they've already had to start paying back
I know,
the
but this
loan,
is the silly thing. Maybe 38 Studios expected the contract to run over a longer period of time or something, so they could get the MMO off the ground, and then if it was successful, they'd have the Benjamins to make create jobs and
I guess that was the
pay
idea.
back Rhode Island and stuff. But that was never going to be the short term, like 3 or 4 year contract that it turned out to be, or something. That was never going to work in that time scale. So maybe
Well, it might have done if they hadn't wasted all that time making a single player game.
Perhaps.
They just gone straight to the
but
MMO.
a lot of the tech was going to be reused.
Well, yeah, but
And it was a good game,
Yeah,
so it
Sort of.
kind of did quite well in terms of,
yeah, it didn't sell badly, as
Yeah.
far as I know.
probably would have got people to investigate the MMO had they then gone
Yeah.
on to make it.
Well, the
It's
interesting
like
thing.
talked about, really.
The interesting thing that comes out of this is that, like, days before the actual firing, one of the 38 Studios, like, higher-up guys, someone who's leading the MMO project, was basically said, seriously, this is something special here. The game is further along than you guys think, like, sounding like it was actually probably getting near demo state. And he used the phrase, and this is where things get intriguing, he's like, seriously, this will blow your mind. And it's like, that could just be marketing, but people
Sounds like
generally
marketing.
don't say that unless it's like actually probably quite good in
people
MMO.
generally
land.
don't say that unless they're Peter Molyneux.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, it's a bit of
Well, he doesn't really
American
say,
thing.
blow your mind! He says, it's pretty good.
It's the Americanized version.
We're going to expand your dreams. Or some shit like that. Think of the possibility. You could have a gay dog in the next one.
Did you not have gay dogs in Fable 2?
You could have dogs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they even have a male or female dog in
No, I don't know.
Did you get a choice?
They're probably genderless dogs, which would make them both gay and not gay at the same time.
I don't think that's quite how it works.
If you're asexual, are you both gay and not gay?
Just imagine the meetings if you're doing a game with Peter Molyneux as the creative director. Like you're working away on making a dungeon or something, and then you get called into a meeting. It's like, I want
A dog!
Freaking fairies coming out of your ears or something.
Can we add a dog breeding segment?
It's like, dude.
I want to be able to create new breeds of dog. Can we
Dude.
have a Chihuahua station?
Dude, calm down. We'll put a fucking dog in, just calm down.
Put a banging dog on it.
Banging dog on it. Oh, man.
So yeah, I don't know. I was kind of interested. I wanted to see what they do, because if they kept the combat from Kingdoms of Bendir, then it might have actually been interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
That combat wasn't that amazing.
It's pretty good. It's pretty strong.
By the sounds of it, Dragon's Dogma might be the one to go for if you want really ridiculous combat.
well, what's this Korean MMO that's come out with this supposedly
What, Terra?
awesome combat, relatively?
I haven't actually seen.
I saw some footage of the combat, and it.
I saw
as
the
it
footage
were.
of the game, but not any combat. It's like I'm running up. Well, no, actually, I guess I did see combat apart from the video I was watching. They were fighting such low level stuff. It was just like murder.
Oh, right, okay.
It's like that's not helping me.
Well, it seems like they have like massive monsters in the world just generally wandering around that you can take on at any point, really, if you're feeling stupid enough.
Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, exactly. It looks exactly like that. Exactly like
Apart from
that.
without washing into a battle scene.
Yeah, exactly.
I
'cause you
suppose
just
Monster Hunter and Dark Souls would have done that as well, but
yeah, I
Dragon's
suppose.
Dogma, supposedly.
Yeah,
That's
and
where we're going.
then apparently, if you're nimble enough, if you avoid getting whacked by one of these things, I mean, obviously at low level, that's going to insta kill you, but you could still win potentially if you jumped around crazily enough. So yeah, interesting.
speed runs in 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you gain quite a lot of levels, wouldn't you? I suppose.
Yeah.
Don't know. It might be quite funny. But yeah, it's
Still
like,
a bit of a shame. I was kind of looking for. I wanted to see where that went. Mainly because out of intrigue, is I want an MMO that's not really that is different from MMOs. If you know what I mean.
yeah, that might happen
With
now.
the exception of Eve, because I know it's like one of a kind. But
Because like the Old Republic
Guild
kind
Wars
of kind of proves that if you make something the same, you're not guaranteed a success.
Well, did everyone know that? Did they have to do it as well to be sure?
Yeah, but no one did it with quite the polish of like, wow, that's guess what they were trying to do. Is that it's like super high production values on the Old Republic, like better than WoW, arguably.
Yeah.
By just pumping tons of money in. So maybe they thought, oh, it's not innovation we need. We just need something that matches the kind of quality.
The same game
Yeah.
just looks nicer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sounds nicer.
That didn't work.
well, they did do. Why is the subscription base not high on Old Republic,
I
or,
think
or is it not holding members?
Yeah, it is leaking members apparently. But I think it's quite a lot of people probably joined. But I think a lot of people are leaving. I was talking to John, and he played it, and he stopped, and he played WoW for years. But I guess he said that he just doesn't have time to play.
No,
Who
yeah.
knows?
I think when he played WoW, that was quite a different situation.
Well, I think that I'm not sure, but I don't think people like the end game raid stuff yet in the Old Republic. Like they like the kind of story.
Well, yeah, once you
So
get
you
through the
just-
story and like the voice
Yeah,
acting
well,
part
so
of it is done, you're just like,
So you think they've lured in perhaps the wrong crowd for the MMO, for the
No.
long-term MMO mentality?
I don't know. I think a lot of WoW players probably tried it because it's the new thing. Whatever.
they're waiting for their pandas. Got nothing better to do.
I don't. Yeah, but a lot of like, I would say people who've been playing WoW for a long time probably aren't super excited about pandas.
I don't know. They might be.
I would be. Freaking pandas, man. With Kung Fu.
Yeah,
It's like that film with a similar name.
indeed. Yeah, shall see.
It would have been bad if they actually had tied that in. Just like, World of Warcraft, Kung Fu Panda!
That would have been worse.
Let's start sort of sponsoring this shit, yeah? Welcome to the Wrath of the Coca-Cola King.
Coca-Cola King would be an awesome boss.
What would it even be?
It'd be like a giant, like a giant golem just made out of piles of Coke bottles or something.
Or would it be like the signature glass that would just scoop people up and then they'd be out of the fight for a while because they'd be like in the glass? Or maybe there'd be like some of the minions that he spewed forth would just be giant Coke
Gelatinous
glasses.
Coke cubes.
Yeah. Oh no! The fizz! It's burning my skin!
Yeah, exactly. That shit is acidic.
My teeth!
Dissolved.
my mount is no longer vicious! It has no teeth!
Oh man, if you had a skeletal mount, you'd be fucked.
Yeah. Just burn away. There you go, untapped sponsorship ideas. Isn't it like as nearly as good as Sneak King?
Sneak King.
Yeah, did you not hear about this?
Yeah.
In the Burger King range of games.
Genius.
That was quality.
So anyway, any other news?
News! There was that weird news earlier on this week that because of a patent war between Microsoft and Motorola, that a US judge has recommended that shipments of the Xbox 4 gig and 250 gig models, which I think is all of them at the moment, they recommend that they stopped getting new shipments in America because of this patent infringement. And it's like, really? That's quite hardcore. And apparently the decision, if it goes any further than this, will potentially fall with the president himself.
And he'll be like,
He'll be in favour of Xbox, surely.
He'll be like, man, I gotta dunk my basketball.
Jesus, that is some not generic racism.
Possible.
That was very specific target of racism.
it really was.
But he likes basketball, that's not racist. He literally does.
It's true, but I don't think his response to making a significant political decision is, oh shit, I've got to dunk my basketball.
Unless he uses his Xbox for dunking it.
So anyway, that'll get overruled. They'll still sell Xboxes.
Or they'll find like some kind of other way of doing it, like Y-Box or something.
I'm not sure that's exactly where the patent is. We patented the letter X, you can't use that.
They managed to get something stopped selling in Germany, didn't they? The Motorola, was that good Android phones or something?
There was that, and there was that brief hiatus of PlayStations a while back due to a patent infringement case. Where all the stock got seized temporarily.
Stop bickering, fools. Make
It's fucking
something
ridiculous,
awesome.
isn't it? I don't think. And does anyone really win out of patent wars? Does anyone actually sort of make money out of it
I don't know.
ever? It always seems so to and fro.
Google Oracle thing is hilarious. It's like, use that API. Yeah. It was public, free API, right?
Yeah,
Bizarre.
yeah.
And even the judge, apparently he's programmed a bit, and he learned Java, and he can recreate the code that Google used that is supposedly infringing in 5 minutes.
Right.
Lols.
Yeah. So that was going to get thrown out.
It's hilarious.
Oh, I just think it's dumb. That's pretty dumb.
Dumb.
No, dumb.
Got any news, Zach, from the Minecrafty, Dwarf Fortressy kind of world of indie-ness?
Maybe, but we can probably talk about that as a different point that's not the actual news. I was just trying to think if there was any other actual news.
Does anyone have any feelings about the Diablo 3 launch and the fact that
The fact that we don't care about this
the
at
fact that
all.
you can't play a single player game for 3 days because
Because the servers
always
were down.
on.
And you still might get fucked up by server lag or whatever.
Yeah, lag.
Yeah, that's the weird bit, isn't it? That lag affects the offline game.
You say offline.
Yeah, but a
Single
server,
player.
yeah, a server shouldn't be running how that.
The trouble with Diablo 3 was there were several points where I started getting sort of semi-infused about it, because everyone was playing it, and I was like, and then I keep remembering that I should be waiting for Torchlight 2. I'm like, wait, I'm going to play Torchlight 2, not Diablo 3, not Diablo 3. And then, luckily, I also had the thought where it's like, oh, and I have to make a battle netting out and shit, and then that puts me off the more.
Well, there are bits that sound pretty cool, but it does sound that apparently the game is shorter than its predecessor. In terms of actual length of completion.
Yeah,
And
however
however you
you
define that.
multiple character classes, they're probably quite a lot different.
But they no,
And you
they
have to
never
go
are
through,
in these.
and you have
games.
to go.
Massively
You have to
different,
go
aren't
through on like lower difficulties to unlock higher difficulties or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
that's
you know,
right.
you say these like things like character classes are wildly different. I've not really, you know, most like RPGs of MMOs of any kind, they all end up playing pretty much the same way. Click on it till it dies.
Yeah, I'm not. I think that's like one of the key selling points of Diablo.
Click on it till it
Same
dies.
as Torchlight 2.
That they're really quite different. There's not that many, are there? So they're probably quite.
There's like 5 or 6,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there was 3 in Torchlight, and they were the same.
Well, the ranged one was different in Torchlight because it was the only ranged one.
Well, I don't know. You could get ranged powers, couldn't you? With like the mage guy.
Well, yeah, but those depending on whether I guess the mage guy could be ranged or melee depending on what weapon you're using. But the spells you just target wherever you need them. They're not
True.
really ranged spells as such.
I guess. Well, they're pretty ranged. I consider that ranged, I guess, but he could just attack at all. He was at all range.
Yeah, basically.
But I don't know. I always find the differences in these things like it doesn't really warrant a playthrough. But it's not like if you played through Mass Effect completely soldier and then switch to an all biotic character. That's quite different.
More different than that, surely, than in Mass Effect.
No, I'd say that's probably more different because in soldier playthrough you literally can only shoot. That is pretty much your entire repertoire is the shoot. You switch to biotic and all of a sudden you open up. Actually, the shooting is essential still, but it's kind of this extra layer. I don't know. It's wildly different if you ask me. You have to go about your entire fight strategy very differently.
Mm.
Whereas in all of these games that I've ever played that involves a class switch, it's still click on it till it dies in some form or another. It's like I don't really have to think about changing my strategy or anything. It's just go into it, do what I always do. Yeah,
Well,
bored now.
I mean, with the only real thing that changes, I guess, is like the ranged thing. It's like ranged characters you don't want to get into melee combat because then you just die. That's the only sort of different tactic, is staying away from enemies rather than trying to group them into you.
True, and you know it can be done with a bit of finesse, I guess. Those ones, but it's these things come into have more of an effect, I think, when there are more support abilities, and that's where my knowledge falls flat. If I'm honest, it's like when classes can support other classes in an interesting combination. You know, like one is able to give another player benefits. You know, that's where stuff gets interesting. But
That's
it's
why you were a terrible monk in Guild Wars. Because you just wanted to smite.
No, smiting was an addition. I was spending my time healing them for the majority of the fight, except when shit got near me, because the smite was useful for making enemies de-aggro me.
Well, yeah.
And then when I got bored, towards the end of a fight, I'd just run in and try and smite everything.
But smiting was on your mind.
It's true, because it's a cool word. It's not going to smite you down. Who doesn't want to say that?
Torchlight 2's coming eventually. I should have got in the beta.
You should have done. Why the hell aren't you in the beta?
Because I keep forgetting, it's like Guild Wars 2, I totally forgot to do anything. And I can't remember whether I signed up for the beta of PlanetSide 2. So I'm like, fuck!
Oh shit, I haven't done that. I meant to do that as well.
Yeah, exactly. But I keep forgetting that there's all these games coming up that I could theoretically get into a beta for.
Do you really want to play a beta, though?
Well, yeah, that is the question.
Side 2 is probably going to be quite
Well,
challenging.
yeah, I suppose it
I
doesn't.
don't know, it's just a shoot.
Well, I guess it makes
Beta.
less sense in PlanetSide's case, because it's going to be free anyway.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we might as well play it when it's done.
but you also get to, learn things. It's
Yeah.
all a matter of whether what stat resets happen. I mean, presumably everyone resets their stats every time nowadays, and you don't get any bonuses from being in beta so much any longer. But
You're just going to play the beta, and then everyone's going to find the one weapon that's overpowered, and then when the real game comes out, it'll have been nerfed, and everyone will just be like, no, my awesome shotgun, or something.
no, you learn all the weapons in beta because there's no penalty for you being shit at it.
I suppose.
I guess, yeah. There is that to it. But yeah, I don't know, I've not been massively... on all the shit with the servers being down for a while, and... It doesn't strike... Oh, and that was the other thing. Some of the reviewers who have, had spent some serious time with this before actually writing the review, because, it's been out a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
They sat down and said, the marketplace actually kind of breaks a lot of what made Diablo good. They introduced the idea of an auction house.
Mhm.
Except the problem is that the way the player base seem to have been treating the auction house is like, how cheaply can we sell awesome stuff? Meaning that the loot grab no longer appeals because you can buy really powerful gear for very few coins.
Well, it's just like, just don't.
I know, but
And
people
also-
will, and it loses the appeal if you can. Well, I could just do that.
And also the whole idea of like, it's sort of the same as like EVE economy or whatever, where it's like the only reason it's cheap is because apparently it's too easy to get those things. They've actually failed to make the good shit scarce enough that people can't just super easily farm it and then sell it for cheap because they've basically mass produced it.
Mm.
I guess.
I'm quite tempted by Diablo 3, actually, thinking.
No!
I don't know. It just needs to be. Well, presumably they've sorted out the problems by now.
Well, most of
So
them.
it's just a question of
Maybe.
how much is
but-
it? Do you have to buy it for £40 off them, or
Probably.
maybe is it in the shops? I suppose they never. That's one thing that never gets cheaper in shops, though, is it Blizzard stuff? Like everything else is like, oh, £10 for something that came out 6 months ago. That's pretty good. Meanwhile, you've got your World of Warcraft battle
Then you'll have to
chest
get
for, like,
Battle.net.
so-
Add that onto Origin and Steam.
Yeah, but Battle.net isn't a client thing, is it?
I
It's just a login, right?
don't actually know if it has a separate. I don't think you need. I don't know if it has one
No.
because it has like a whole messaging system or whatever. So it must have a Steam-ish kind of overlay because
Yeah,
it's inter-game messaging.
right. Well, I mean, I might want to play StarCraft 2 sometime, single player of that. So I'll have to get Battle.net for the count for that. So, I mean, what's wrong with Battle.net? It works really well, doesn't it? Apart from when it launched.
Rather when it didn't. Yeah,
And that wasn't Battle.net going down. Battle.net was up, right? People could still play StarCraft.
yeah, I guess.
Oh, and there's some serious security flaws apparently in Diablo. Like,
Well, not security flaws so much in like terms of hacking your machine, but more like hacking your Diablo account. It's not like
yes.
it's.
Oh, no, true. It's not like, it's not personal security, sorry. It's like Diablo's game security. Two weird things. One, didn't they make an intentional decision to make passwords case insensitive?
I
in Diablo,
I
which
didn't
is-
hear about that.
Slightly bizarre.
That's quite strange.
And also, there's the weird thing where if you join someone's game, because of the way the net code is done, you can hijack someone's session super easily and then have access to all their stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm now you. I'm going to nick all your stuff. There's not a lot you can do about it unless you're wise and also hacking and can hack your own account back.
But as always, why would you join a random person's game?
Well,
It's
but
the
people
classic-
do, I guess, because apparently that's one of the things they've got right. Is drop in, drop out with randoms is actually quite well done.
Yeah, I guess. But that doesn't mean you should do it.
No, I don't know. It strikes me as weird that a company that have been running the most popular MMO ever made for so long can fuck up their net so badly. I mean, why did it go down? Was it overpopular and it destroyed the
Probably.
servers?
I
Or...
think so.
That's the classic.
People were playing it.
Yeah, but that's terrible. Blizzard should know this by now.
Well, that's what we say about what we say about Star Wars, where it's like, how could they not know that it was going to be super popular on launch and have enough servers? They never do.
It's dumb. It's really dumb. And, it's especially dumb for Blizzard. BioWare, maybe. Not MMOs aren't exactly their domain. Sort of forgivable, maybe.
I wonder
But-
if someone could make an MMO that had, well, maybe not one of the main players, but whether you could like run your service on like an elastic cloud rather than a special, because Warcraft servers are literally special boxes, right? If you, I think I saw one on a picture of one. It was a whole server, as in with all the players was on one rack unit. So it had a whole bunch of processors and shit on it, but it was
Weird.
this big, and it had a Perspex top with World of Warcraft printed on it. It was pretty awesome. It was like a retired server. Anyway, so that's all obviously custom made for the game, or whatever. But if you could do it with the generic VMs or something, and you just use Azure or Amazon EC2 or whatever, then you could just scale to whatever. They must have tons of capacity.
Well, I don't know. I wonder how much, because, these things need epic server loads. I
Yeah.
wonder how much these...
But it's the elastic cloud is the future, isn't it? They're supposed to be able to deal with whatever.
Perhaps, but I don't know. I have my doubts that, for the architecture of... if we were to use Eve as an example, with its enormous supercomputer, that's probably quite a hefty portion of the Elastic Cloud.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
If you know what I mean. It's like, don't get me wrong, it has a lot of, there'll be a lot of people using it and stuff like that, but that's a fucking supercomputer.
Yeah, maybe at some point you just end up just building a supercomputer. And then it's not big enough. Oh no. Not big enough.
Actually, in fairness, it's still probably cheaper to run your own hardware servers on that scale than it would be to use a cloud on that scale.
I mean, does World of Warcraft have data centers, or are they co-located, do you think?
They must be.
Because like Google and now Facebook only recently opened their own data center, didn't they? And they're massive.
Yeah.
But they've been co-located for years. Whereas obviously Google have their own data centers.
Yeah, they need them because they have their own file system.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all secret how they do their stuff as well.
Sort of secret.
Sort of, yeah. But yeah, who's big enough to have massive data centers of their own rather than...
Well, the Microsoft ones are pretty enormous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Microsoft, yeah. But do you think Live will have its own data centers? Do you think? Or be co-located with the other Microsoft stuff?
It's probably inbuilt with the other Microsoft stuff,
yeah.
But they'd still be... Live, I suppose Live's requirements are quite a lot less than...
Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. I agree with you in the sense that I think Elastic Cloud would be a good way for it to go, but there might be financial or literally Microsoft or someone turning around going, seriously, you do know how much of our resources this is going to use?
Yeah, but if it's just like day one and you just have to pay an extra $3 million or whatever it is so that you don't have problems.
What, like a day one buy a server for a day almost?
Yeah, that's how it works. You rent them. But
well, yeah, but I meant like... You'd have your own servers somewhere else ready to take over after you'd used the cloud for the first day or something.
I suppose you could, but you'd have to make sure that that's the thing. If your stuff was really bespoke, you wouldn't be able to use their stuff like generic providers, VMs or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, interesting.
MMO fun.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't say I'm. It would be one. I think Diablo is one of those things that I could potentially get into if we all got into it.
But we're going to play Torchlight 2 instead.
I don't think I'd want to play it solo.
Yeah.
And actually, I kind of prefer the Aspherdica Torchlight, I think.
Well, we'll see whether Torchlight 2 is actually good.
Yeah, it might be a bit poo.
It can't be any worse than Torchlight 1, really.
That's not really a ringing endorsement there, Zach.
Torchlight 1 was good. I'm saying it can't be any worse than that because they're making 2.
Well, I suppose it was pretty simplistic, wasn't it, the first one, really?
Yeah.
So
you never know. Some people fuck up sequels more often these days than they used to, I think. Because,
well, it's inherently better than Torchlight 1 anyway, because it actually has co-op now.
Yeah.
Therefore, it must be better. Speaking of which, I saw that they're on Steam. They're selling the Torchlight 2 in a 4-pack.
Oh, cool!
And I was like, wait, does it only have free player? I thought I heard it was only free.
That would be bizarre, because then surely they'd have to sell it in a 3-pack.
Yeah, that's why I thought that was weird.
Yeah, double check.
Maybe they've taken the extra time to add another player.
Check your sources. Maybe they've added, are they sticking to the 3 classes then?
Well, that's why I thought it was free, because 3 seemed like a logical number, even though they've got different classes now, but I think they're still sort of, the 3 sort of base classes and then...
Variants.
Yeah, sort of variants of those. Maybe? I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention, which is why I'm not in the beta, because I haven't been paying attention. God damn it! I guess it's like, I don't care that much, I'll just play it when it comes out. Don't even know when it's meant to come out, so whatever. I don't think it still has a proper date, does it?
No.
It's still just like, at some point in the summer/autumn-ish time, I don't know. After Diablo 3 is done.
Actually, I thought they had kind of solidified that somewhat.
Well, it's been on Steam, on the homepage, so it must be relatively close. Probably.
Indeed. Right.
And I think if you buy Torchlight 2 on Steam, you get a free copy of Torchlight 1.
Why would you play that if you had 2? I suppose if you needed some more content.
Well, I mean, you can play Torchlight 1 now.
Yeah. Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Still no release date.
So,
expected in July.
Yeah. It's not too long.
Speaking of things that are expected in summer,
yeah,
that I'm still super enthusiastic every time I see more stuff about that Starbound game.
Starbound.
The Terraria-ish type of
Oh,
thing.
yeah. I'm excited that XCOM, the good
That
one,
also-
it's like October or something.
That's too far away! I want it now!
I know, but they've
It already looks so awesome.
and
And it's already playable because they're having people play it.
yeah, and the lame-looking shooter has been delayed again.
Yeah, to like next year.
Yeah,
It's funny.
feel sorry for those guys.
No.
But yeah, XCOM's going to be sweet. Yeah, that'd be cool. So, any other news?
Sonic 4 Episode 2 came out.
Oh God!
Apparently it's
Are you
not-
actually going to get that now after you said you would?
Don't.
I will eventually, but they've got it wrong again. Apparently it's kind of crap.
Yeah.
Like, crapper than the first one somehow. Yeah, I mean, the first one was always middling. It wasn't crap, but apparently this one is crap.
Yeah.
And it's. Again, they've got it wrong. And like, how they've gone for the 1200 point bracket again.
We've discussed this before. After Minecraft, you're fucked. And it's never going to be cheaper than 1200 points ever again.
Yeah, it's probably true.
But I don't see. There are games like that have been released at 800 points that obviously had more effort put into them than either of the two Sonic games. Explosion Man and Ms. Explosion Man being fantastic examples of that.
Well, Explosion Man was quite old, relatively speaking.
Yeah, but they came out. Yeah, but they still exude more quality and more effort than Sonic 4 does,
But they didn't. They at the time
and
no
more
one-
content.
At the time, no one had the idea that they could charge more. That they were going to be in the $20 range at some point.
I don't know. Trials probably. The original Trials probably changed that.
Maybe.
Trials HD anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, it's a bit of a disappointment, apparently. Mainly because of the boss fights. Apparently the boss fights are, like, god-awful.
Well, they were meant to be stupid, like, remakes of Sonic 2's bosses anyway.
Carrying on with that theme.
Yeah.
It's well, there's some weird other things as well, like, you know, the inclusion of Tails sounded fine at first, but they kind of made it a mandatory part of the game.
Yeah.
So there are too many sections where, you know, before he was there as an addition, and that you could use the flying ability to sort of perhaps take shortcuts and things like that. And, you know, but it was never an essential part of the game. Now it's an essential part of the game, and feels cheap because of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of bits where it's just like you just run into a wall and it's like, oh, no, I have to fly up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like completely ruining the flow of a Sonic game. And there are good levels. Apparently, it's like a 50-50 split, like where some like the levels actually flow quite well, and then all of a sudden they go gimmicky and crap, and then they go well, and then they go crap.
Well, that's not much different from any other Sonic game, really. that tends to happen quite often, that there's always some levels that are retardedly gimmicky and really fuck you up.
I don't think
Or at
that's
least the
necessarily
recent,
true.
more recent Sonic games, anyway.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but there's like, well, I don't know, Sonic Heroes maybe. I remember those not working very well.
What about Scrap Brain? That's a prime example of an old one in a Sonic game. Where it's like, it totally... Because that was all, like, really annoying precision and, like, grinding those screw things up and down and all that sort of shit. I didn't really play Sonic 2 that much, but I remember that vaguely.
Scrap Brain wasn't Sonic 2, that was Sonic 1. That level is called something else
Oh, yeah.
that I can't remember.
Fuck.
But yeah, that is quite irritating.
It's the metal level.
Yeah,
Gotta have an industrial metal level.
even that I don't think was too bad.
Well, I mean, that in that case, it was like the last level, so it at least sort of, you know, it was like suddenly it gets harder
Suddenly
at the end of the
difficult.
game.
Yeah, and the Sonic games at that point had a bit of a tendency of doing that. You know, Sonic 1 did it with Scrap Brain, was tricky.
Well, some of the, I mean,
it's,
even some of the,
Sonic, well, do you remember do you remember Sonic 1 on the Game Gear, where it had that bizarre last level with the,
I don't think I ever got to the end of Sonic 1 on the game.
No, me either.
the last,
Fucking jungle levels.
Yeah.
the jungle level was pretty tough, but yeah, the last stage on Sonic 1 Game Gear was, you're on the top of like a launch platform sort of thing. It's like, and you're in a lightning storm. Except it's not just a lightning storm. There's these weird diamond things about that create like periodic electric barriers. So you have to try and find the gaps in these zap zones, basically, to try and traverse your way through the level and time your jump so you don't get hit by them. And things
Oh, right,
like
yeah,
that.
I think I've seen that.
It was pretty
And
awkward.
they sort of reused that mechanic in Sonic CD, didn't they?
Yeah, a little bit. It was pretty awkward.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a good-looking level, actually, in a way, because they made a big deal of, so when the electric goes off, the entire screen sort of flashes a bit and made a sort of like a woo sort of noise, as best as the Game Gear could. And it was a pretty tough finish. I think it was the last level before you went to the boss stages, but it was and that was kind of, I suppose, a bit different from the rest of the game, but I don't know. I'm intrigued as a Sonic fan, but
You're intrigued about what?
Sonic 4, Episode 2,
No.
but it's not getting a lot of good press. Seriously, no. Not even from the fans.
So I assume if you do end up buying it, you are going to give it on the Xbox.
Yes, for the lock-on thing.
Yeah. Because the thing is, it will probably actually get cheaper on Steam,
Oh, well, yeah, there is that.
whereas it won't on the Xbox.
It might come up in a sale again where it's half price.
If it gets cheap enough on the PC that you could buy both the episodes and it would still only cost as much as it
Well,
by itself would on the Xbox, then
That's true, that might be worth it at that point, yeah.
It could well happen.
but then you won't get achievements.
But they didn't release Episode 1 on PC, did they? Or did they?
I don't know, actually.
I can't remember.
I think they might have done.
But you're sure 2 is coming to PC?
2 is out
It's already
on PC.
out.
Alright.
Interesting.
For a tenner. Which is about the same price.
Yeah.
Tenner. Wow.
what
Seems
would you
crazy.
expect?
I don't know. You've got Generations for a tenner in the sale.
There you go. I guess.
Which is awesome.
But yes,
I'm trying to think what else other news there was. I'm sure there was some. There's always news.
There always news that we can never remember.
Yeah.
should we move on to what you've been playing?
Yeah.
Indeed. Shall I briefly talk about Bastion?
Yes, do
Which
so.
is all I have had a chance to play lately, of late. I don't really know what else to say about it, really, that I haven't already said. It's really weird, because it's really good, and, like, the art's really good and everything, and, like, it's got this... I still don't know... I haven't got to the end, so I still don't know anything about the Calamity, or whatever, at all, really. I mean, there was a kind of twist in the middle, but it wasn't much of a twist. It was like, yeah, so this happened while you're away. This shit went down, and now you have to carry on playing the game.
Deal with it, dude.
Yeah, so yeah. And,
The kid raised an eyebrow and plowed on.
exactly.
Raised an eyebrow and walked away.
There's quite a lot of different weapons and stuff.
Winning
in
the
the
argument.
game. But that I am.
The kid
Says
won
the
the argument by killing everyone in the room.
The kid doesn't say much.
No one disagreed.
It's like there's quite a few different weapons. A lot of the missions start and it's like, oh, there's a new weapon on the ground. You pick it up, and but you can't switch back to your old weapon until you find an arsenal or whatever. And so some of them might not be that
you to
great
use it for a while.
for a little bit to give it a go, which
That's
is kind of
kinda
cool. Yeah, but like I haven't found any weapons until now that I like more than the starting two weapons of like the Kale Hammer and the Breaker's Bow. In fact, I've upgraded the Breaker's Bow's like draw speed to the point where that's basically all I use. No, it's not that fast, but it's not that fast at all, really. But with the mouse and everything, I just tend to like hit things from extreme range that are just on the edge of the screen. I tend to sort of walk forward, shooting the stuff from as far away as possible. And it's quite powerful, actually. So, especially if you get the timing right, you can get a power shot out of it. And that seems to be the way. So I don't even use the hammer that much until they get in really close. But now I found like a flamethrower, which is like torch everything.
Is that the thing that actually has like a dragon head in its effect? Or because I've seen things where it looks like there's flames in the shape of a dragon. And
yeah, that might be the flamethrower. I don't know. There's some cool effects in that game and the way it builds up and stuff, the levels, and they each have not each, but they do have distinctive styles, like the swamps and stuff look quite cool and everything. And it gets quite kind of dark and kind of weird in a good way. The music's good and stuff. But yeah, I've just mainly used the Breaker's Bow from as far away as possible and just pepper the level with whatever's coming up, whack it in the face with a bow. with a bow,
Yeah,
an arrow
just throw the bow that throws bows.
with the bow. Yeah, and like bow up.
That would probably hurt quite a bit. Like
Yeah.
being hit around the face by a bow.
Yeah, that wouldn't be great, would it? If you could have bows that were like boomerangs.
I mean, there's probably better things. There's probably
They
better things
gave
to be
like
hit in
that.
the face with. In fairness,
Yeah,
What if you had a bow with 5 boomerangs?
a boomer bow. That'd be awesome. But how would you'd have to catch them when they came back with your hand.
Yeah.
Unless the bow had some kind of retrieval.
Yeah,
thing.
like an aircraft carrier, like a hook with an
Yeah.
elastic. Where it's like,
Arrest a hook. That'd be awesome. Oh, we have to include that in some game, the boomerang. Clearly.
yeah.
It is clearly the future, because you could get a lot more power than the normal boomerang throw if you use them,
Yeah.
the elastic cord of the bow.
but then surely there's some like interesting challenges with a boomerang because with a bow, like you have that bit of wood at the front and the
Yeah.
elastic comes out behind. So boomerang's attached to that, isn't it? Just going to go clock and like get jammed on the wood bit.
Well,
You'd
if you
have
had
to
it
have
like
some
a
sort of.
crossbow, then you'd have it above, wouldn't you? Above the.
Oh yeah, that's a very different thing. That's a cross boomerang.
Cross boomerang. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I suppose you could do it on have a boomerang, but you'd have to have some interesting sort of like.
We just have like a rail or something.
Yeah, or you could do it horizontal, I suppose, and fire it like that. Or you could have, like, for a proper old-fashioned vertical bow, have some sort of rig or, like, arrangement of, like, metal in the way or something. So when the bow fires, it sort of hits it and begins its spinning or something as it...
Oh, it spins around.
So, yeah, so it
That'd be
angles
fucking
itself
awesome.
round the...
Yeah, that's clearly part of the design of the boomerang.
Enhanced spin.
That would be sweet.
Yeah. So anyway, Bastion. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It just reminds me for a second, have you seen the trailers for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
No.
It looks friggin' awesome. It's retarded, but
Sure.
he has a gun axe. It's axe one end, gun the other.
Oh, it's no sword.
It's no gunblade.
Gunblade. Sword gun.
But that was always a dumb idea anyway, because it's like you cut into someone with the sword, and then the gunfire is causing flame to come out of the sword.
Yeah.
They make some boom! Well, it really makes more sense with a sort of a stabbing sword than a cutting sword.
Mm.
You like stab someone and then fire the gun into them to do more damage.
That's pretty hardcore, isn't it, really, when you think about it? It's pretty brutal if it wasn't in Final Fantasy where things just take sword cuts all the time.
Yeah.
It's like you had to like put it in someone and then fire this fucking gun. Boom!
Exactly.
It's pretty horrid.
Isn't Abraham Lincoln was actually famous for being particularly good with axes, I think.
Yes, that's where the legend sort of comes from. Or one of the many things that the legend comes from.
I think he was good at chopping down trees, not like murdering.
He was good at making log houses.
Exactly. It was a vital skill on the frontier. Good to make a nice house. Have you ever seen is it Unforgiven? The Western with Clint Eastwood, the like 90s
No, I've
one.
not seen enough westerns.
It's got like Gene Hackman, and he tries to build a log cabin, obviously on the frontier, but it's all super leaky and shit because he has no idea what he's doing. It's kind of hilarious. Indeed.
Every time that someone mentions that the character in Bastion is called the Kid, I always just think, so where's the, like, I want to be the guy reference?
Yeah.
And clearly, every character that's called the Kid needs to reference that now.
Yeah, possibly. So yeah, you pick up a new
anyone who's called the something, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
pick up a new weapon,
Dude.
try it out for a little bit, and then if you're lucky that and you don't like it, there's an arsenal, and you switch back to your breaker's bow or whatever. Kid goes back to his old standbys. Sometimes it's awesome when it like reacts in just the way you
Like,
think.
in proper context.
Yeah, and it doesn't like. I think it remembers that it said that, so it doesn't repeat it if you do it again, which is quite nice because I haven't had it repeat itself at all. I don't think.
Really?
Not much.
That's different
No.
from at all.
It's not. No, I've never noticed it repeat, so maybe at all.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
which is pretty cool. But then why would it? I suppose you're playing a different level each time. Maybe if I went back to the same level.
Yeah, perhaps, but surely there's some of the things it says are contextual to what
Yeah.
you're doing outside. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be level context.
But maybe that stuff is like can only happen once per game. if it hits those contexts, or it has a range it can choose from, but each one of those can only be, and it remembers which it said.
Kid saves his game.
Yeah. Well, that is the one annoying thing, actually. I'm constantly, like, I finish a level, and I go back to the Bastion, and then it saves, obviously. But then it's like, oh, upgrades. There's, like, stuff you can fix up in the Bastion, and you can shove in the shard that you got, and you can talk to people and stuff. The trouble is,
it's got a badly timed auto-save.
Yeah,
so it doesn't save upon exiting the game.
No, because it saves upon getting back to the Bastion, so you can't like do all your upgrades and then save and then quit and then come back and then play the next level. You have to play a level, finish, and then immediately quit, and then when you come back in, you do your upgrades, because otherwise you lose your progress of your upgrading.
I found Assassin's Creed did that at some points. If you left the Animus and then went to do the stupid email thing,
yeah,
and then sort of just turned the console off at that point and didn't remember you looked at the emails. It's like, no.
Yeah.
You have to specifically tell the game to exit at that point or go back in the Animus. Then it saves.
Yeah.
But
I kind of want to do my housekeeping and then save and leave.
Yeah, I kind of do that, sort of as a... I don't know, that's a bit of a habit of mine as well. You finish a session of gaming and then you sort of just
fix everything
tinker with it and then go, right, I'm ready to go next time.
Yeah, but it won't let you do that in the Bastion as far as I can tell, so that's kind of annoying.
If you just went into the start of the next level, then would it save on level?
Yeah, maybe. I might try that, but that commits you to, because you have a choice of where to go next, somewhat. So, well, there's quite a limited choice, really, but still. I'd rather sally forth from my base rather than, like, load up the game again and be in some swamp or something. I don't know, though. You could probably do that. I might try that.
The kid was indecisive.
It did.
I'd love it if the narrator sort of was more than the game. So you exit the game and then it's still there.
That would be freaky.
So he's...
The kid is opening Microsoft Word.
The kid fancies exploding some scientists. The kid loves meat. The kid had a ham sandwich.
The kid needs some lardons.
The kid made a bacon and bacon bake.
Tasty. So yeah, that's Bastion. So, what you've been playing?
Finger of Doom, where's it going?
Rob again.
Oh, it's right up in my face.
What have you been playing, Rob?
Oh, let's start with the completion of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Thank God.
So we can check that one off the list.
Again.
We
can never talk about that again.
Oh shit, does that mean there's no Assassin's Creed for a while? I better start Revelations then for the next cast.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
carry on.
Keep it on top of that fucking hot topics list.
Vital.
Yeah, so I have finished it, and that's my unfortunate opinion of Brotherhood is...
My shirt agrees with you.
His shirt says meh. It
does say meh on it.
Or as a giant earthworm once said, even my t-shirt's painted orange.
But I missed that.
It's in the Earthworm Jim cartoon.
Okay.
Where they go and visit the world's biggest scam. And he gets a t-shirt that says, I heart the scam. And then he says, even my t-shirt pays orange.
Nice. I actually quite like a t-shirt now that says I heart the scam. That just sounds hilarious. That entire game is filler, as far as I'm concerned. It's a real shame, because it starts off like they don't really make anything of what 2 really leaves off with. It's like, you've got Rome, which is like the capital of Italy, and they don't really... It's a bit of a shame that the story that uses doesn't really match the setting, if you know what I mean. It's like, oh, we're going to the Colosseum again. It's like they really like this Colosseum a little too much, if you know what I mean. It's just things just happen to be there.
Yeah, because the Colosseum is like a ruin by that point anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the Castillo they're constantly going to, that big castle.
Oh, you go there like 3 or 4 times throughout the game. The Castel Sant'Angelo or something. And yeah, you go there several times. The Princessa is in another Castello. It's one of the achievements is or something. I don't know, it's really nice. The stories, I play those games for the story because I have beef with the controls, as you know, I have beef with the combat, as you know, but the story was the driving force because I always thought it was good and well done. It's kind of not in this. Like, I got worried last time on the cast where sequences 5 and 6 or something seemed to sort of go off on a bit of a tangent to the main story and didn't really seem to be any consequence. Because up to that point, it's like, shit, we need to regroup. Let's get everyone together. But by that point, you've kind of regrouped. So, and then all of a sudden these weird sort of side stories come up again for the other factions. It's like the courtesans have a bit of a problem that you need to sort out. And then the thieves have a problem you need to sort out. And then the French have a bit of a problem attacking Bartolomeo and you need to kill the French. So,
Yeah.
and it's like, none of these really are anything to do with the furtherance of the plot. They could have like quite easily stood as side missions, which is annoying.
It's kind of weird how the French sort of pitch up just
Just
right
like-
outside the city.
Yeah, they do.
Everyone else just carries on normally.
It's like, oh, hi, French guys. Zidala. The pastrami, but they... I don't know, maybe the French would they wouldn't know what pastrami was and like turn up and go, we must conquer this land for its pastrami. I don't know.
Because they didn't know what it was, but obviously they wanted it.
Well, they have had a taste. One taste is enough. Oh man, I was like, I got very confused earlier today because I saw that in the bathroom upstairs we have gained a supply of bog roll.
Good, that's vital.
Yeah, but it says it was
That's
like,
surprising.
but it says that on the bag it says it's got enriched with shea butter. And
I can see where that's going.
I sort of misread it, and so enriched with shea butter. It's like what? Oh wait.
Oh dear.
That'd be great. And celebrities don't really do toilet rolls in Jordan, do
For
they?
obvious reasons.
My butt approves.
Okay, that would actually be kind of awesome. If it was like a George Foreman style thing, it's like, so good I put my name on it.
Chuck Norris turns up and goes, I approve this roll. Also, Chuck Norris is totally in Expendables too.
Oh dear.
Chuck Norris!
Chuck Norris is like an evil Republican. He's like super against like abortions and things like that.
I don't care, he's Chuck Norris. His political views are different from the man.
Yeah,
legend.
everyone said that about Hitler, right?
I don't know if they did.
His political views are completely separate from the man, the legend.
Yeah, I don't think Hitler was that much of an awesome dude.
No.
He doesn't really have much of
He was
a...
just a politician.
He was legend. He is legend in bad sense because of his political views, not that he was just legend beforehand.
No. Whereas Chuck Norris, legend beforehand, now happens to have
Well, no, he was it's
kind of a douchebag.
he's a TV legend. It's like he
Like
became a
the
legend
Governor.
for being characters, but then once you discover what his actual personality was, it's like, oh, he's actually there.
What? Yeah.
Characters in a film.
I can't remember. He does something. It's quite. What is it? I think he's spoken out against gay marriage, and I think he might even be against teaching evolution.
Yeah.
One of those.
Really? That's a
Yeah.
bit harsh.
Yeah. Creationism for the win is his policy, I think.
That's literally creationism for the win.
Yeah. I'm Chuck Norris, but I approve of creationism. Anyway.
They should do the classic technique and teach both.
It's not that easy.
It's not up to the schools to decide. So there,
Yes, but who is it up to decide?
the kids.
I think if you
Oh,
ask
no,
kids
no,
what they
no.
wanted to learn, I think they never
Oh,
learn
no,
anything
no,
at all.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I mean that from the sense it's up to them to decide what they believe, not what they get taught with regards to that.
Yes, but you can't teach everything. You can't teach every ridiculous,
No,
if
true,
you're
but
going to
they're
start saying you can't, you can't. Anyone who comes up with any ludicrous theory, that's just as legitimate as any other one. We have to teach it.
As like scientifically proven theory. Yeah.
No,
Well,
but-
not necessarily scientifically proven, but just as to another side of the argument.
Mm.
You can't.
But those,
cover
what I
all-
mean by that is that those are the two biggies. Aren't they? They're kind of the two. And plus, they can theoretically coexist to a certain extent. So it's, missing links and all that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Chuck Norris. But yeah, Assassin's Creed, the story's not great, really. Spoiler alert, for those of you that have, like, not played it yet and have played the second. Well, yeah, just spoiler alert in general, story, blah. It's like, the second game makes Rodrigo Borgia sound like, you know, a bit of a badass, really. You know, he's kind of he's the main antagonist, and you let him get away, and then it's the setup of Brotherhood seems to think that he's still running the show now that he's the Pope. Surely he's got, like, more power to, like, do this kind of stuff. But he really has no part in this plot whatsoever, and then kind of dies in a really sort of non-awesome way. He gets poisoned by, what is it, his brother? Is Cesare his brother? Or something? Some sort of relation.
Related, yeah.
Yeah, and he just sort of gets casually poisoned by this military douchebag, and it's, I don't know, that's really not a good way of, like, bringing that whole, he's supposed to be the guy you're, like, getting revenge on, and you don't even get revenge on him, and he's not really plot consequential in the end. It's like, really? Maybe there's some historical
That's the
facts that they're trying to carry on with here, but it doesn't make a good story. Because Cesare just, you know, he's not really that terrifying, is he? He's not really, you don't really think much of him for the entire game in terms of being a threat, really.
You're constantly talking about him.
Yeah, he's just sort of there, but you never really feel like he's a problem.
It's quite epic at the end, though, with the, like, fiery battlefield thing.
Yeah, that was another weird decision, because they sort of just jump to that, don't
Yeah, they
Like,
do,
Cesare gets, the main Rome plotline ends when Cesare gets arrested, because the other armies have lost, well, basically, he tries to get the help of another army after you've decimated his forces, and but this other army got tipped off by Rodrigo Borgia before they came that, you know, not to help him out. In actual fact, they arrest him, conveniently, meaning you don't have to deal with him. But then there's a big jump in the story, and the only way to sort of get this is to, when you end up in this different place where there's this battle going on, you get one of those little location pop-ups. And it's like, when you hit the back button, the text it literally gives you is like, right, so I suppose you're wondering how we've made this jump. And this is like something like that, and then explains what happened to Ches in text. And it's, seriously? It just seems like a really random jump. And then the only purpose in that section is to have a fight and kill Ches. It doesn't really, again, not really anything to do with the plot. You just murder this dude. Or does he give a hint about the Colosseum? I can't remember. How did they end up at the Colosseum? At the end?
Yeah, I can't remember either exactly. Because they do, right? Yeah, because there's a whole...
Something reveals that it's the Colosseum. Oh no, because
Probably is.
he gets the apple, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Earlier on in Rome.
That's right.
I don't know why he goes and kills Ches, but he basically hides it in the Colosseum, which mysteriously has one of those, like, again, another unexplained bit, seems to have one of those ridiculous, like, alien vault things. How did they know that was there?
Right, yeah.
It's, I don't know, they make a lot of jumps at the end of that story that seem to be, oh shit, we've got to wrap this up kind of bag. And so, and that was annoying, because that fight is one, it's like they do the classic, like, we'll show you the ending at the start thing, don't they?
Yeah.
And you can't get there. And it's like, well, okay, that's lost the intrigue of that now. It turns out it was just shit and a cheap trick, rather than actually being cool. I don't know. Blag. The bro button is cool.
The bro button!
I find myself just using it for a laugh now. I didn't really find myself using it during the game, but now that I've gone back into it to try and just finish off some of the easy chivos, it's more fun now just to call them in randomly. And it's like, I was trying to explain to Dan the other day, but there's this, I don't know, there's a sort of weird, cheeky pleasure in distracting a guard by standing right in front of him, and he goes, "Oh, you shouldn't be up here," blah, blah, blah. And then just like casually going, calling in a dude at that moment, and seeing him climb up behind climb up the building behind the guy who's paying attention to you and casually stabbing. It's just like, I don't know. I find that kind of fun. Just like
the proxy stab.
Yeah, it just looks so dumb. As well, the guy's just standing there, and the other guy just goes, "Do-do-do-do-do." Yeah, that was kind of cool. But I have to talk though. The game, this isn't really. I find that I've always said that I find the controls a bit of a pain in the arse to work with, and it seems to have a preference in doing what you don't want to do quite a lot of the time. But this isn't actually related to controls. My biggest glitch was doing one of the layers of Romulus, which are essentially a side quest thing. You don't have to do them. But there was one in particular where you're running through a set of sewers, chasing a dude, and then at the end, it sort of ends in a confrontation between you and 8 guys. And so you have to murder these 8 guys, obviously. That's what you do. You're a murdering son of a bitch. So these 8 guys come out, you have a fight. So I killed them all, except my counter on screen said, you've killed 7 out of 8 people. And I'm like, really? Okay, where's the last guy? So I could see that the sort of leader of Romulus was standing up on this platform, and it's like, right, okay, that must mean him. So I aimed my bow at him, my crossbow, not a boomerang or a regular bow. It's
crossbow's pretty good in.
It's fucking amazing.
Games, yeah.
It's like as soon as you get that, it's like, oh, just kill everyone at range now, bitches.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
It's the one hit kill thing because it suddenly makes throwing knives look terribly, terribly shit.
Yeah.
Well, they were terribly shit anyway, but it makes me use the crossbow. But it's like, and then so I go up to this guy, I aim my bow at him, and he sort of backs away from the edge. Then you need to go cower in a corner. It's like, oh crap! I better go up and find my way up to him. Blah 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 blah. Only to find that I can't hurt him. He's cowering in this corner and is completely untouchable. Like he registers as an enemy in Eagle Vision still, but I can't assassinate him. I can't make him a target. So I can't kill the guy. And then then that room doesn't proceed. And unfortunately, there's no way in that room of me killing myself, so I go back to the last checkpoint. So I have to restart the whole goddamn memory and do the whole thing again.
Do all the platforming.
Second time I do it, same thing happens, but with 6 out of 8 guys killed. So at this point, I'm like, seriously, what the fuck? And so I look at all the corpses lying about, and it's like, there's fucking 8 corpses here. And then it clicks. 2 of them aren't dead, but are writhing around in pain,
right,
and are untargetable.
Right.
So they haven't technically died,
right,
but they've been defeated.
Okay.
And the game makes a distinction, for some reason, between those 2 facts. So this leaves me in a situation where I can't do anything, because for some reason in this position I can't pick up bodies. So I came up with the idea, there's a handy-dandy sort of bit of water there, and it's like, well, can I drown them? Just pick up the body and chuck in the water. But you can't pick up the bodies at that point for some reason. So I had to do it at another time, and then it actually counted them as dead. And then it worked. And it's like, that's a pretty big glitch.
Yeah.
To happen, like, twice in a row. And it's like, yeah, that was really, really annoying. Fortunately, that's one of the shorter layers, so it wasn't too bad to just run through. It's probably like a small portion of one of the other ones, but it's you could get back to that point pretty quick. But even so, freaking irritating. Shouldn't have massive glitches, not game breakers.
No,
little ones are sort of forgivable, even if they are fucking frustrating. But I tried climbing the again, I was telling Dan about this the other day, but I was trying. One of the achievements is to climb to the top of that Castel Sant'Angelo where you've been the whole time, and it's like there's like one good route up to the top, but at this one point in the route, getting it to do the jump that you need to do is pretty impossible. It would you aim it up, you push the stick forward to go, and you're like, right, I'm all ready to do this, and then you squeeze right trigger and A to do the little jumpy thing. And then he jumps at pretty much a right angle and to his death, and it's like, controls! Why are you doing that? So I did it again, and then you die from that fall because it's so big, and then it puts you fucking miles away from the castle in the middle of the Vatican. So you have to get there, get into the castle, get over the walls, then get to the actual middle bit which you can climb, and then try it again. And I was very, very careful this second time to sort of make sure there was no possible way of me getting this wrong, and it did it again. And it's like, how am I getting this wrong? I made specifically clear that was the direction I wanted to go, and this was the jump I wanted to make. And he still sort of twists on the spot and jumps to his death. Why would you do that? It's idiotic, and it's just like, right, I'm not fucking doing that. That Chivo can rest. You've escaped me, that one. I don't know. It's annoying because that game starts pretty strongly.
Would you recommend people play it?
You can probably skip it.
Yeah.
I reckon that if you just went to Revelation, which neither of us have played yet, then you could probably just skip it as part of the story.
But you don't know that Revelations isn't just...
This is true. It could be... Well, it's got... I don't know. It'll probably have a bit more closure than this one, because, it's presumably Ezio's last days.
I suppose so.
So there will be something will have to happen.
I guess.
Presumably to set up why they move to someone else for Assassin's Creed 3. There's got to be It's got to be a finish to this part of the story.
Well, I think I'm planning on skipping straight to 3, I think, from after Brotherhood. So, see how that goes. You might do the other.
Yeah. I mean, Rome is a fairly neat setting.
Yeah,
it has to be said.
Quite fun.
And weirdly, it sort of has a strange effect that even though it's only in one place rather than like 3 or 4 this time, it doesn't feel that much smaller. The game sort of it weirdly makes you think the game is smaller, it being one area rather than 4. But it's sort of there is enough to do and there is enough content, and you don't retread ground too much, really. You probably retread the ground just as much as you do in this as you did in 2. It just has that strange effect of making it feel smaller because you're in the same place the whole time. So yeah, a bit frustrating, but if the story could pick up, like the modern day stuff is still interesting. It doesn't really explain anything in this one, unlike the weird introduction of the aliens from 2. But it's like it doesn't really expand on that too much. But something happens that will presumably change the.
Something dumb happens.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: Lucy dies.
Does she actually die?
Well, we don't know. She gets proper stabbed, unless it's a hallucination, because we just don't know. Because then that's when the game chooses to cut, and then there's some sort of weird voiceover about the Animus did this to him, and then Nathan Drake says no. It's all very bizarre, but I want to see where it goes. Is the annoying thing. I'm in now.
You're in. Damn it! Now you have to play another really frustrating game that you don't like. Really.
It's weird because I want to like it so much. They do so much right, and then the actual gameplay, to a degree, lets it down. I've got to admit, actually, towards the end, the combat was becoming a bit more fun. There must be. I think there's a weird point in the middle of this game where everything gets hardier. Like there's just a sudden jump, and the combat becomes a pain in the arse. And then when you get to the end of the game, you've leveled enough, I suppose. You know what you're doing. Well, not even that. You just have better stuff, so you can resist blocks, and you don't take so much damage, or you don't stumble quite so easily. And some of the heavier weapons that you get are actually really easy to counter with, like really easy. Yeah. So it just becomes kind of fun again, and when you mess up, it is your fault. It does feel like your fault when things go wrong again. So that's fine. Towards the end of the game, it gets better. But yeah, I think that's why I got frustrated with the combat last time, because it's just a bizarre hike in the middle where things get complex. Bleh. So yeah, that's that done. I might try the multiplayer, because I'm intrigued about how the hell that actually works. If there's enough people playing it, yeah, it might not. I might have to jump to Revelation to try that. But, yeah, so that's that. That's done. Solved. Mystery solved. I should just stop quoting Bond. Now I'm listening to it. It's so easy to just say things from it. Yep. We need our own catchphrases. I suppose catchphrases, they're just terrible. Boomerang this week.
And also, we don't realise that we have our own catchphrases. That's the problem. That's not going to catch on. No. Unlike that other thing that was a catchphrase that we can't remember any longer. No. But I distinctly said wasn't going to catch on, and then it did, but now we've all forgotten it again, so,
It was pretty good for like 2 episodes.
Yeah. Whatever it was.
Yeah. God damn it.
We're so awesome.
Our memories are top notch. So what else have we been playing? A little bit more Explosion Man. Explosion Man? Explosion Man. And it's still pretty goddamn hard. I'm in the last world of 3 now, and I've done like 2 levels of that. It's another one of those games that goes through, like, well, I suppose Meat Boy has this problem as well, where certain levels seem insanely hard compared to others. It just sort of jumps all over the place. Although Meat Boy's generally pretty goddamn hard. But
I don't think Meat Boy jumped. It was fairly consistently, gradually getting harder.
I don't know, there was the odd level which just seemed much tougher than the ones around it.
Well, maybe Warp Zones.
Well, and those ones, I suppose, with the moving elements. But, yeah, I mean, like the missiles and the monster things.
Yeah.
Where it's a bit trickier to get a routine down.
But even those kind of ramped up within those sets, like the Hell ones, you started off with the easier monster launcher levels, and then they got more ridiculous towards the end.
I always found those a bit tougher than the rest of them, though.
Well, yeah. Any of that moving shit was definitely the more hard parts.
So yeah, that's alright. Hope to finish that soon. Probably it's taken me quite a while, actually. I've probably put quite a few hours into that.
Finish Meat Boy.
I really don't fancy playing that game anymore.
Why?
No, neither do I really. I think maybe I'd seen what it did, and then because it was just... There's a lot of it, but because there's a lot of the same, maybe I turned off from it a bit. I don't know. Can't explain. Well, I've got like 10 hours on the clock for that, so it's not as much as you, obviously.
I don't know how much I actually have.
A million.
No, I'm fairly sure.
1 million hours.
So yeah, I've been playing more iPad stuff as well. They released an update for Pinball Arcade on iPad, like the second monthly update, which introduced 2 new tables and changed the free table so I could play one of them. Like, and it's the Circus Voltaire is the new one. It's a bit more fast paced than the previous tables, as in you go through what it has to offer quite fast. As in it's not to get to the end, the super end game thing that most pinball tables have of this type. You can get there relatively quickly. It's an interesting design, actually, that table, in a way, because it's like, you know how a lot of pinball tables are quite evil with the out ramps.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, there's fuck all I could do about that. This table's actually really generous with the out ramps. Very rarely are they actually... They're in such an awkward position, really, that the ball very rarely goes down them. The sort of... The way the table makes itself more difficult is by making the flippers seem further apart than normal. And the number of sort of death possibilities where you can't do anything about it going right down the goddamn middle seems to be a bit bigger. There's an annoying shot, like, around the top right, where if you hit it just right, the ball just goes straight down the loop, like, spins around the loop, and then is on a straight as an arrow trajectory down the middle of the table, and it's like, oh, God. But yeah. What I did discover this week that was kind of interesting was that a lot of the tables in Pinball Arcade are just ripped straight from Farsight Studios' previous stuff, of which... one of them was the Williams Hall of Fame, which had things like the Arabian Nights table in it and things like that, which I didn't know about at all. I didn't even realise that one got released. It's like I knew about their previous work with the Gottlieb Hall of Fame, which was okay. A bit of a weird table choice, but it was kind of cool. But basically it means that there's a retail game that might have everything I need in a pinball game. It depends how much they've really changed between versions, and I'm not sure it's that much, if you know what I mean. I don't think much will have changed between the two versions, so I might pick that up and get my pinball fix that way.
And we'll just go and play Worms Pinball again.
Or we'll just play Worms Pinball, which is still clearly superior. That table is fucking awesome. Got everything.
It's got worms.
It has got worms.
What more do you want?
It's just everything about it. Like the Dot Matrix animations are cool. The video mode is actually playable. The tons and tons and tons of features and missions and things like that. It's a crazily featured table. There's so much to it. Plus, it looks good. You know, considering how old that game is.
Well, that's the thing with pinball. It's like there's not that much to render, really.
Well, it wasn't really properly rendered.
Well, no.
I guess it was like done with bitmap effects and things like that. The only sort of real thing that it had to worry about was the ball and the reflections on the ball, I suppose, which all could have been like, I don't know, some kind of image buffer thing. But everything about it was, the animations of the lights were nice and smooth and a bit bloomy, and they didn't just go on off. They didn't just have the 2 frames of animation that they do on Pinball Arcade on the iPad. They actually sort of had a bit of a glow on, glow off time, which added to the realism, and had the big fuck off lights that all pinball tables seem to have around the sides that light up a load of the surroundings. And it's there was like only 1 or 2 real bad animations in that, and one of which I didn't like was the crate turning. That I thought was a bit low frame rate compared to the rest of the animations, and the plane over one of the out ramps when it's spinning propeller, because when that sort of slows down, then you can start seeing the frames and stuff of its animation. But they were the only 2 real problems with that. It's a fantastic pinball game. Fan-fucking-tastic. Fan-fucking
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep playing next. It's awesome. Did I talk about this last time on the cast? The Anomaly game?
I don't think so. You ran out of time on iPad stuff, I seem to remember.
Yeah, so I've been playing quite a bit of that. It's like my lunch break game at the moment.
How much is that?
That was £2.50 on the iTunes store.
The App Store.
Yeah, the App Store. The iTunes App Store. Yeah. Which is considerably cheaper than its PC or Xbox counterparts. And it plays pretty goddamn well on an iPad, I have to say. They recently updated it so it supports Retina display, so it's all nice and sharp. The graphics are pretty good anyway, with its nice colour style. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the world is all kind of washed out and fairly monotone, where your units and what happens on screen is all is the colour. Mm-hmm. And it works quite well. It keeps you focused on what you need to see. It's pretty hard, that game. I've tried to describe it before. It's like tower defense in reverse, I think, is the best description. Like, the alien has this really retarded plan of, like, in order to take over Baghdad, we need to, like, create this mysterious dome, and within it, instead of having units that move, we'll build a shit ton of towers. Somehow. Don't quite know how that's a good strategy.
Yeah, it doesn't make any actual sense.
No, if for some reason we were taking over an enemy planet, maybe, then this would make more sense. But you're not. You're defending against an alien threat who are defending. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit bizarre, but it's kind of cool because it adds a tactical element to tower defense. Wherever with normal tower defense games, I suppose what you do is build your defenses in the right place.
And wait.
Yeah, the enemy's already done this, so you have to try and figure out the best way to get past them, which comes down to planning your route through the city and what assists used at what time. As you go through the game, you get access to more units and abilities, and there's a bit of strategy on not only what units you put in your convoy, but in what order they are placed in the convoy. Like, do you put your shield generator like near the front so your frontline forces can take a bit more brunt, and then put your missile launchers in the back and stuff like that? Or do you carry one of those? So, there's even a sort of like a supply unit that will gradually like give you more abilities as the level goes on, and then you have to choose whether you want one of those and which ability you want it to produce and things like that, because you can't go back once you've changed it to a new ability. You can't change that unit back unless you sell it off and buy another one.
Oh, I see.
It's like, so you have to make some hard decisions, and it's I don't know, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, everyone's British.
Yeah, that does seem quite strange.
I guess the studio was British, and they probably just had like
some British dudes.
Yeah,
available to do bad voice acting. Awesome.
Yeah, it was not that bad, to be honest. It's not bad, it's just British. Yes.
When did they start making it? Because it's like, is this just a political statement about the withdrawal of forces for it? I think it's like, we're still fucking there when these aliens arrive.
I think the game might have released like a year ago on iOS, and it's only gotten re-mentioned recently because of the Xbox port got finished.
Yeah,
where presumably there was a bit of a graphical update, I guess, because it would look a bit shoddy if the Xbox was producing some of those visuals. Some of the flame effects, look a bit weird because they sort of jiggle a bit. Like they come out of cars on the street and sort of go wobble, wobble, like the bitmap wobble. It's not just the flame effect, like the whole bitmap of the flame sort of seems to jump about a bit, but. Or maybe it's probably, actually it was over around, probably the PC version that came out a year ago was probably already up to snuff and they had to cut it down for iOS. So I'm probably thinking the wrong way around here.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Well worth the £2.50 anyway. Infinity Blade to come. Maybe that'll be my next game at Tackle once I've finished this.
Do you think?
Yeah, I probably should, as big as it is.
I guess.
But there is the question. There is the question of whether to jump to Infinity Blade 2, just start there.
Yeah, it's probably reasonable.
Yeah. Apparently that supports wrestling now and stuff, and has more effects, more environments if you play on iPad, more environmental effects if you play iPad 2 or higher. So you'll probably be prettier.
Mm.
Yeah, what else have I been playing? I'm trying to think now. Oh, I didn't get to talk. Did I mention Cannon Cat and Rocket Fox?
No.
Last week. 2 little tiny free games that I came across. Well, one of them was completely free anyway, and it's a. I'm trying to figure out how to describe this. You're a cat whose main method of transportation is cannons that float in the sky.
It's Donkey Kong, basically.
Yeah, kind of, except without the platforming element. Actually, that's a pretty good description. It is Donkey Kong without the platforming bit. It's like the entire game is you come out of a warp thing into a cannon, and then you have to fire your cannon at the right angle. There's no buttons, basically. You just press the screen to fire, so you have to wait for the cannon to face the right direction and fire at the opportune moment. And that's the entire game. You fly between cannon to cannon, catching, freeing the skyfish. And
Why would a cat be freeing fish?
I don't know.
Eating them.
But the idea is to get to the end of the level, getting all of the skyfish on the way, because he seems disappointed when you reach the end and you haven't. So I'm making sure I get all of them. Avoiding the penguins with propellers attached to their backs, because they seem to be bad guys.
For no particular reason.
Yeah. It's insanely cute as well, because when the cat falls to its death, it sort of just goes wow 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 and puts its arms out in front of it in a sort of ridiculously cute animation. It's small, it's simple, but strangely cool. I've spent far too much time on it than it really probably deserves, but it's alright for a freebie. Might as well check it out. The other thing I tried, because it came up at the same time as Cannon Cat and sounded very similar, was Rocket Fox. It's this looks like the same game.
And is it?
No! It's made by Namco. Or Namco Bandai, I suppose, as they're more officially known. And it's a 3D tilt game where you land on flowers that are rockets for some reason, and when you land on that flower, you fly into the sky and you have to tilt the screen to aim where you land, which has to be another flower, so you fly up again and can move through the level until you've got all the flowers or whatever the objective is for that level. Sort of works kind of well. The visuals aren't great, but they're 3D at least. And there is a sort of a puzzle mechanic to it, because certain flowers release other rockets that can take other flowers out of commission. So if your goal is to get all of the flowers in the level, then you can sort of speed up the process sometimes by landing on the right flower that will get the nearby ones. But you have to be careful, because some levels, when you do that, you then remove your route. Because if you activate that one too early or something, you might need some of the flowers nearby to actually get where you need to go. So there's a sort of puzzling element on it, and it's unfortunately, as it turns out, it wasn't actually that free. It was one of those games that sort of looks free, but when you get into it, it's actually a demo for the full thing.
Oh, right.
And it's which probably makes sense. It's a Namco game, they probably would charge money for it. But it has an interesting sort of story element when you get to that point. It's wait, where is everything? The landscape's completely bare. It's oh no, this must be one of those demo version things. Damn. Oh, and this is the best bit of the game. To exclaim his his disappointment at it being a demo version, one of the characters literally just says, dump. Since when has that been maybe it's a translation thing, but this character just goes, oh, dump.
Dump. Dump. So yes,
So, yeah, I played that as well.
Rocket Fox.
I'm still playing Tiny Tower for some reason.
For some reason.
I really don't understand why. It's compulsive.
That's how they get you.
Still playing Bejeweled Blitz.
I saw that Bejeweled 3 has come out on Chrome now.
It really has it.
Yeah, which I thought was weird, considering clearly the other version of it is better.
Well, they did release Bejeweled HD on iPad recently,
Right.
which was like an iPad-specific version of it, which they didn't have before, which has Retina graphics and all of that. And it has, annoyingly though, and like I think maybe at some point PopCat thought that speed mode that I like from Bejeweled Chrome was really shit or something, because it's not in
Any of the other versions.
no, it's still not in this brand new version that they've made. And, this is the worst bit of all. Like, I was like, well, maybe it'd be alright. If it has a Blitz button in it, which presumably Blitz plays like Bejeweled Blitz does.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's worse than that. That button isn't a remake of that game mode. No. It just launches Bejeweled Blitz, the other app. It's like, bit of a jip. So, maybe that means that Bejeweled Blitz is going to get an HD makeover sometime soon, but sounds like they're avoiding it. But, I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed by that, because, Bejeweled Speed is awesome. Much more entertaining than Blitz.
Yep, clearly.
Yeah. So, I think I'm out. I think I'm done.
Cool. Okay, Zachary Burgess, what have you been playing?
All the usual shit.
All the usual shit.
No, actually, not all the usual shit. Because, once again, the thing I have been playing is Dwarf Fortress. Which I guess is sort of becoming the usual shit of me not playing it now. Because, god damn it, I don't know. I think I might actually have to this time, though, because I finally came out with this patch that I've been waiting for.
Okay, fine.
And there's only been a very small post-patch patch. And I'm like, I think it might finally be time to commit and actually play some Dwarf Fortress.
Might actually be ready to play.
Yeah.
What, you mean they may have fixed enough this time?
Yeah, they may have fixed the things that were bugging me from the previous 2 or 3 patches enough that I'm like, yeah, that'll do. There'll still be bugs, of course, because it's Dwarf Fortress, but...
But you don't know yet, because you haven't checked out.
No, and
You haven't checked out the release notes or anything.
well, I've looked at the patch notes to see what they've been fixed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine what some of the combat text would be if there was a boomerang in it.
Boomerang.
It wouldn't be any different from all the rest of the combat text.
Yeah, but there could be some interesting, like, misfiring text or something, because I imagine my model of the boomerang might be quite prone to failure. Would be that interesting, like, thing. You fire the boomerang. Oh no, it's got tangled. It's got caught in itself. Or the boomerang in the boomerang comes out at an awkward angle and knocks yourself out.
But yeah, the most recent stuff in Dwarf Fortress...
You are not trained to use this.
Probably. The most recent stuff in Dwarf Fortress has been all the hauling changes with, like, minecarts and wheelbarrows and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, mining changes where you don't necessarily get quite so much random shitty rock out of every piece. Because it used to be, like, as you leveled up your mining on the mining dwarves, they'd get faster, but they'd also produce more rock.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were, like, legendary, almost every square that they mined would produce a bit of rock.
Cool.
And then you just have fucking millions of tons of rock all over the place that was completely useless and actually got in the way when you wanted to build things.
Mm-hmm.
So now they've made it, now it's much more, apparently it's no longer skill-based on how much rock you get, but you can convert the boulders that you get out of mining into, like, 4 bricks. So it's basically like you get 4 times as much stuff, but it starts off as one thing that you convert into 4 things.
I see.
So you get less of it, but you still basically have the same amount of resources effectively for building and stuff. So it won't fuck with anyone's mega projects. So you need a shit ton of resources for that, of course. And there's similar sort of things with the ores, where it's like, you might not get as much ore, but you can make more bars per bit of ore.
I see.
So yeah, and the hauling sounds ridiculous. There's all kinds of projectile motion and shit that they've added. Like, now that they've started modelling projectiles more legitimately, where it's like, things have a parabola. They have a parabola, and, like, pointless shit, like, you can skip things off the surface of water.
Oh, cool. Oh, do you have to be the right kind of shape?
I wouldn't have thought so, but yeah. Apparently you can do that with minecarts and shit. They go fast
skip
enough.
minecarts. That's sweet.
And apparently, like, if a minecart crashes, the contents can fly out and, like, murder people in, like, a shotgun effect.
Cool.
So you can probably create some kind of ridiculous minecart-based trap mechanisms where it's like, all these goblins are walking down the hall, deploy the minecarts! Just murder them all with a bunch of random shrapnel.
Cool.
Although knowing Dwarf Fortress, the random shrapnel could be probably anything in the classic Dwarf Fortress style. Like how in Adventure Mode,
Put feathers in there.
yeah, where it's like in Adventure Mode where you could throw literally anything and it would count as a valid projectile. I'm going to throw this vomit and it murders you because it still counts as a solid projectile.
Really?
Yeah. For a baby.
That is a valid projectile.
That one was a classic. The old classic of like murder a goblin child and then use the goblin child to murder more goblins.
That's hard.
Yep. It's hardcore.
You've been killed by your kids involuntarily.
So yeah, Dwarf Fortress might be time to get back in, but of course I've been playing more Minecraft, which is sort of the same style of thing, except more in a single person element. Instead of a management, it's more like doing it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Although I was also looking at another ridiculous Minecraft mod that's basically trying to combine Minecraft and Dwarf Fortress.
Really? Again?
Well, yeah, but more like directly this time.
Okay.
Because it's like, it introduces, like, instead of just Minecraft's generic stone, you get, like, 20 goddamn different types of stone, and they appear in layers, and each different stone has different types of properties and shit.
Like Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah, like Dwarf Fortress. So, but the trouble with that mod is that it hasn't got all of the features in yet, so it's almost pointless. It's like, you can, now, if you install it, it's like, you can get all these different kinds of rock and trees, and like, I think it's mainly just rock and trees, and ores. And it's like, all that actually does is just make it more difficult to do the first, like, when you want to, you can't just punch a tree to get wood. Now you have to scavenge like a bit of flint to make a flint tool, and then you can get wood. And then you can't just use the wood, you have to cut it into planks, which requires like a certain percentage chance to break the log into a good plank to make a crafting table. But then you can't just craft like a pickaxe, you have to find ore, then you have to like make charcoal in a charcoal like mound, and then you have to take the charcoal and the ore and then you have to heat it up in a fire pit, and you have to smelt the ore into an ingot, and then you have to heat the ingot up, and then you have to hit the ingot on the anvil in a certain way in order to turn it into the parts of a pickaxe to make a pickaxe.
Wow, that is complex.
So it's like Dwarf Fortress in Minecraft, except the trouble is that that's about as far as it goes. Once you get to the forging part,
That's it.
yeah, the mod hasn't gone further than that yet.
Okay, but it's being actively developed.
Yeah, apparently the next thing will be farming is their next major part to implement. So there'll be all irrigation and...
Is that all, is it basically almost the same? Like, are they slavishly like copying as far as they can from Dwarf Fortress? Or are they sort of coming out with their own?
Sort of. I mean, obviously being as it's like... Being in Minecraft where it's like first person-y,
Yeah.
you have to like... Because in Dwarf Fortress, it's just like you tell a dwarf to smelt iron and then he goes and does it, rather in this where it's like it's a mechanic to do it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there wouldn't be much of a game to it.
No.
It would just be like Minecraft normally is, where you shove iron in the top and coal in the bottom and then iron comes out. So yeah, that's that. I haven't installed that mod. I might wait. That's another thing where it's like, I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet. Maybe once it gets some more of the mechanics in.
Yeah.
And with the agriculture, he's said that he wants to like make, change Minecraft's water mechanics to be finite, so it doesn't have that stupid 7-block distance flow thing that Minecraft has.
Oh, okay.
So the water will actually be a limited resource or whatever. I mean, it is technically, well, apart from you can make water generators in Minecraft, whereas like, if there's 2 water blocks that flow into one block, it fills it up and creates a new water block.
Another block, so then you've got infinite water.
So yeah, apparently possibly finite water, which might be kind of weird. They did try that. Because it used to be like that in very early versions of Minecraft. And it was like, that is too much physics calculations. We need to cut that down and make it a bit simpler.
Right, I see.
So yeah, there's that. And I also was looking at other mods like the stupid Red Power mod, which is this unnecessarily complicated addition to the like redstone circuitry. to make it so that it's more like actual circuitry, where you have like real cables and ribbon cables, which are like bundles of cables, and then you can run like 16 different colours of cable into a ribbon cable,
Which is just one block
which is
wide.
just one cable, yeah.
That sounds cool.
And then program computers in it. And all like the logic gates are just one block that you can just put down
Rather
and
than having
to build one.
Make one, yeah.
And so I hadn't gone for that one yet either. That was like a bit ridiculous. I think I'm just going to stick with the Buildcraft, Forestry and Equivalent Exchange combo.
Are they sort of very, they work very well together, those two, Equivalent Exchange and Build? They're kind of developing in a way that they're supporting each other's features.
Well, yeah, pretty much, because, I mean, the Buildcraft and Forestry is basically an offshoot of Buildcraft, so that's basically very compatible. And then Equivalent Exchange has certain things that are compatible, like all the Buildcraft pipes tend to be able to pump in and out of the Equivalent Exchange chest system and all their compressors or whatever. So it's all nice and compatible.
Nice.
So I've been doing that some more, continuing my ridiculous giant world of Minecrafting and bees.
Giant world of Minecraft. And bees. The bees!
Lots of bees.
Hello. We have visitors. How far have we got to go?
Half an hour.
Half an hour. Half an hour more cast and we'll come and say hi.
And then open some windows. Jesus.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been breeding lots of stupid bees.
It is getting pretty hot.
Yeah, I know. It's getting hard to think in here.
Covered in bees!
It's really hard to think.
Covered in bees!
And I've been really annoyed by the bees systems where you breed them because it has like basically genetics where it's like you have dominant and recessive. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You have like dominant and recessive traits,
Right.
and then each bee has like an active and inactive part of its genome, and then you breed them, and it has a 50% chance to pick each one from each parent.
Oh, so it's quite simplistic.
Yeah, it's simplistic, but
in a cool way.
Yeah, but in a cool
genetics is way complicated.
Yeah, basically. But then the trouble with it is that the different, like, traits are described in words.
Right.
So when you have, like, lifespan, it's, like, short or whatever. Except for it uses a load of words that are too similar. So lifespan, you have, like, shortest, and then you have shorter, and then you have short, and then you have shortened.
Why?
And I'm like, which one of these is longer?
Why didn't they just say small, medium, and large lives?
Or like one.
So it's like shortened, like less than short then? Or
No, shortened is longer than short.
Shortened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I would have thought shortened would have been something, because you could have something long that has been shortened, but it's still pretty long.
No, but shortened is less than like
That's what
normal. But short is shorter than shortened because it's more short.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
So it goes shortened, then short, then shorter.
Yeah, downwards.
Yeah,
That's
got it. You got it.
Yeah.
But then the trouble with that was because in the like genetics, recessive things are marked in blue, and obviously if it's recessive, you have to have both genes be recessive for that trait to become active.
Right.
Because otherwise, whichever one of the two is dominant always
It's always
takes over.
dominant, yeah.
But the trouble with that was that I wasn't really paying attention. But when the lifespan gets to normal is recessive. And I just saw blue, so I bred out normal for shortened, and I was like, wait, shit, normal is longer than shortened. Fuck.
Oh,
So now I lost my normal traits, although I only had one species of bee ever that has actually had that so far, so next time I find something that has normal, I'll try and preserve it.
How do the bees appear then in the world? Are they like little cubes?
No, you just get like, when you make a beehive, it just has like particle effects that come off it, and like random particle bees that float through the air.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you don't get to see little bees going to
No, it's not to
and stuff.
specific places.
That'd be cool.
Just floating around. They have an area that they work in where flowers will grow around the hive, and if you put more flowers in there, I don't know if it actually affects the output, but I assume it does, because that would make sense.
It would make sense. More honeys.
Yeah, and so you can make various kinds of honey depending on what kinds of bee you have, which is kind of weird. You can get some quite rare resources. Like I just found one of the special types of bee you only get in like dungeon chests underground. So it's a randomly spawning. It's not like you can get it in
Dungeon bees.
Yeah, dungeon bees. Steadfast.
That's brilliant.
Dungeon bees, they sound awesome.
They're called Steadfast.
Do they casually walk around with axes?
No, they are shiny though.
Do they drop potions?
No, they in fact make cocoa
What?
because
Chocolate dungeon bee.
yeah. Well,
Ignore
it's
me.
because one of the random sort of prize resources you get in dungeon chests is cocoa beans, and that's the only place you can get them. So they're like super rare. But now, if you get one of these dungeon bees, you can have it makes cocoa cones that you can
Cocoa cones.
yeah, that you can refine into more cocoa.
But does it make bacon in bacon bake? That's the question.
That would be an awesome kind of bee.
Yeah. But no, cocoa cones.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So you can get extra cocoa beans, which is really weird because the
You
cocoa.
get chocolatey honey out of it.
Well, basically.
There should totally be a candy called Cocoa Cones. That's a cool name.
Okay.
New Cadbury's Cocoa Cone.
It's a variant on Cocoa Pops, surely. Cocoa cone.
No, there's nothing as cool as the Cocoa Cones. It's
Because
got,
I've got
like,
another C.
it's got 3 codes in it. Cocoa Cones.
Unless you get the Chanel license, like Coco's Cocoa Cones.
You could have all kinds of things like that, couldn't you? You could have, like, chocolate-flavoured painkillers and Coca-Cola World. Wait, no, there's a value over the... You can buy over the... No, it's Cocodamol that you buy, so it would be Cocodamol.
Okay.
That's probably more awesome than Cocoa Cones.
Or a Cocodamol cone. You'd be sorted.
It's a delivery mechanism. Like, yeah, the Cocodamol. It's quite hard to actually get the number of codes right when you say that. Cocodamol codes.
Cone of cocodamol.co.uk.
Sponsored by Conan.
Co.com.
Look, they haven't.
.co.com.
That'd be great.
I was trying to think if there's any other ones that are actually more co than co.uk.
What would CO be as a country code? Could you got .co.co?
Yeah, I don't think CO would be a country.
Cocodamolcode.com. Co.
Because they used the Cook Islands, didn't they, for the Nathan Barley thing, /bad.cog,
Yeah,
because it was .co.ck.
terrible.
Terrible. So anyway, Minecraft.
Yeah,
Bump's URL is bu.mp, which is like Mauritius or something.
classic. But yeah, Minecraft, and I still haven't finished linking up the ridiculous forestry elements because you sort of have to commit 100% to the forestry thing if you want to do it with any sort of automation. Because you can feed stuff in manually easy enough to the various inputs and outputs or whatever. If you want to make it automated, it's like the entire of the forestry mod pretty much like links into itself. So you have to build basically the whole loop at once.
Uh-huh.
Whereas like the tree farm links with the peat bog and the wheat farm, and they all interchange each other. And you have to have various engines running all the different parts. So yeah, and then with Buildcraft you get the special pipe wires which let you put logic gates on pipes so that they can trigger various
Oh,
diversions.
as part of the same blocks?
Yeah.
Or on top of?
It's like the pipe, you have 4 different colours of pipe wire that go on each side of the pipe.
Oh.
So you can run 4
You
different...
just paint them on the side?
Yeah, basically, it's just like another item that stacks on top of it.
Is there much of that in Minecraft? Like stacking onto the same block?
Not really. Not in a basic Minecraft, but a lot of mods have done it. I mean, like the red power stuff with the stacked cables or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, those aren't technically 2 items, but you can build... The red power thing also lets you build wires that go like up walls and along ceilings.
Right.
So when you're in like a corner, that's technically like 2 items per 1 block of empty space.
Mm-hmm.
So you're having to deal with that, which is supposedly quite hard, which is maybe why it didn't happen like that in original Minecraft. Because that would have been well useful, because running redstone current vertically in normal Minecraft is a giant pain in the ass, because there's no way to do it. There's 2 ways to do it. One is just to build a staircase, because it can run up the side of 1 block at a time.
Right.
But that's obviously incredibly space inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other way to do it is like you use redstone repeaters to charge a block, and then that powers the redstone on top of that block, and then you have another repeater facing the other way, so you kind of zigzag upwards.
Well, that's really slow.
Yeah, and that's not very efficient either. And you need a lot of redstone to do that, so it kind of sucks.
It's like your ridiculous piston elevator for yourself.
Yep, I was making my piston elevator. It uses way too many pistons, and is not really very fast.
I was saying, how uncomfortable it must be to actually ride one of those things because you're constantly getting shoved. It's like shoved up, shoved across, shoved up, shoved across.
Well, and the other thing about that,
So you come out so bruised.
Well, I was thinking about maybe I should put the block that's on the front of the piston that's shoving you sideways. I was like, maybe I should make this wool. Maybe it'd look nicer. Because at the moment it's just like a fucking chunk of cobblestone hitting you in the face.
It'd still be like, even if it was like made of wool, you'd still probably fall over and like.
Yeah, you'd have to have like roller skates on or something.
Maybe.
So you go.
If you like fell over just once, then you'd like been balled up and tumbling all over the place. And what if a limb sort of went between, like, out of the piston range or something, gets crashed against your central pillar or something? It's all kinds of dangerous.
You'd have to just sort of sit on like a Teflon floor. Be like, wee, wee, wee.
Yeah, or just like enclose yourself in like an elevator car, basically.
Yeah, if you had a cube on wheels or something, it would just go like you couldn't rotate and fall over and stuff.
Yeah. At least it's not a TNT elevator.
It's fucking impossible to maintain.
I don't know. I guess you. Well, you probably could if you were using one of the other mods like Red Power that can place blocks directly. I suppose Buildcraft can do that now that they've updated their.
And what? So the populator thing can just populate the space with TNT.
Yeah. If you use the new Buildcraft blueprints that can record the type of block, not just whether it's a block or not, then you probably could have it replant all the TNT for you.
Would the TNT like destroy stuff though?
No, because in the TNT elevator, it falls into water, and then the water, like any explosions in Minecraft in water, it like really limits the range, but not necessarily the power.
No,
so it's like you're standing in a very specific location that's in range just enough so it doesn't kill you, but it still propels you because there's a lot of dynamite piled into one block, which is why that system works at all. Still totally ridiculous, though.
And if you were exploding a fairy fountain, you could probably get your health back immediately after being exploded.
It's one of the things that you can make out of the honey in forestry is like ambrosia.
Ambrosia?
Yep. Which is obviously like the best health item, best food and health item. That like refills your food bar like 8 points and gives you health regeneration for like 40 seconds. Which is easily the best thing by miles. It's like, it's not even that difficult to make. Well, you do have to breed like one very specific type of bee, but it's not necessarily the hardest one to get to. So yeah.
Are there any killer bees?
Well, yeah, basically like...
Hell bees!
Well, there are hell bees, supposedly. I haven't found any of them yet.
They still sound hilarious.
But it's like certain types of bee in the area of effect around their hive. If you walk in it, you start getting injured or whatever.
Yeah. But normal bees would hurt you, surely.
You'd think, but they don't.
Do you not need a bee suit?
You can get one, but only for those very specific types of bees that do have effects. Jungle bees poison you. That's the only one that I've found so far. Oh, and actually one of the bee species that I bred, one of the end of the normal tree, has an area of effect that gives you regeneration instead of injuring you, so... It's like, sweet! Bonus bees.
So could you put those up the shaft of your TNT elevator?
I guess so. Propel yourself and heal yourself on the way up. Whee!
Would the TNT elevator allow you to have a platform to shield you from the blast, but you'd ride the platform up? Or is that how it works and the...
No, because the
platform doesn't stop the blast damage?
You don't really get... Because in Minecraft you don't really get separated blocks, do you? The only things that are affected by gravity are like gravel and sand, and those only fall down. Mm-hmm. So you can't really have separated... Because the other... I
suppose you don't blow anything up.
No. I mean, the other kind of TNT cannons that they used to were the horizontal ones, but they used like mine carts.
Could you stand on a cow? If you exploded a cow, or would it just immediately die?
Well, a pig, pigs that you can ride. I don't think those protect you from damage. I don't think they absorb the damage.
No, maybe not. But you could ride a cow up a lift.
Cow lifts,
maybe. So yeah, that's Minecraft. And then I played quite a lot of Team Fortress 2 because they still haven't fucking patched Battlefield. God damn it. And every time I thought I could only go for the Battlefield, it's like, no, I can't. They still haven't fucking patched it. Well, back to Team Fortress then.
Anything interesting happening in TF? Because I've not played that for like a month.
Well, you should. But there's not really anything new. there haven't really been. There's been a really slow trickle of new items, although not really new weapons, and they've mostly just been cosmetic stuff. So yeah, nothing particularly interesting going on. There's still no sign of that new game mode that they were going on about,
So,
whatever the fuck that is.
How long has that been running now? That teaser.
Have they even mentioned it since?
No.
Just like that one time where they said something and then never.
Yeah, we're making a brand new game mode. Don't know what it is yet, but we're making it.
No. So yeah, I've been playing that quite a lot with loads of noobs. God damn it.
Free-to-play noobs.
Yeah.
Do they still exist? You'd think, I don't know, they
Would
be
good enough?
get better. Yeah.
It's probably just like new free-to-play noobs. There's a very a slow trickling cycle of new people all the time. Or maybe it's just all the good people have left now. Moved on to other things.
Do you think?
Like what?
I don't know.
The hardcore must still be there in the Hampshire Heavy stuff.
Oh, I haven't really played on the Hampshire Heavies. They've been quite empty recently.
No.
They moved their servers to a new address, which I assume
Yay.
means they actually got new servers and might actually fix their goddamn lag problem that they've had forever. But then no one plays on them any longer. So that worked really
Is that
well.
because no one knows where they are?
Maybe, but I mean, the
Rangers
stupid,
should know.
the stupid Hampshire Heavies 4 with their stupid Saxon Hale Freak Fortress, whatever the fuck that mode is, that's still normally got people in,
God
but that's
damn it.
because it's that specific mod. So I guess people can search for that.
Mm.
Oh, well, I don't mind if Heavy's one is slightly underpopulated compared to normal.
Been empty most of the last 2 or 3 times. I looked like last night, like Friday night. Not a single person in any of the Hampshire Heavy servers apart from 4. And I was like, God damn it.
Maybe they discovered beer.
It is Friday night.
I don't think that's ever stopped Team Fortress players.
No.
Well, I went on, I mean, the other 2, like the Uvirium server and the UKCS servers that I also had my favourites, those were both full, so I went on one of them. And it was like, okay then, because I'm playing with you fools. And there's been there have been a couple of people that I've seen quite regularly the last week or 2 where it's like, but no, not this guy again. There's one particularly Master Spy who's been doing the rounds, and another guy who's pretty good at sniping and scout. Which are the 3 most annoying classes. So whenever you see those guys, it's like, oh, god damn it. Am I going to end up on his team again or not?
I don't know, demo men are pretty annoying.
That's true, but mainly if they have, like, crits demo.
Yeah.
Although, of course, these servers have random crits, so they can still be annoying.
But they're not random crits ever, are they, in Tier 2?
Yeah.
They're, like, based on your...
No, they are random,
They're
but
random.
they just get more if you...
The
Yeah,
better you're doing, the more likely they are.
that's what I mean.
Or
Yeah.
in that one life span, anyway.
Okay,
or
so they're
something.
random, but the probability changes.
Yes.
Slightly. Probably not that noticeably, I don't think.
No.
The only thing I ever notice it on is melee. Where it's like, because a lot of the weapons I use, particularly, it's most obvious with Sniper, because the Huntsman can't get random crits, so that chance of getting random crits is sort of accruing, and then when I switch to melee, I almost always get crits.
That's
How
pretty
does
cool.
that happen?
Yeah,
If you use a non-critting weapon,
yeah.
it stores it up for them.
I think so.
If you get a bunch of
At least
kills.
it seems like it. Or maybe I'm just getting a lot of kills with the Huntsman, and then when I switch to melee, it's like, oh, you're doing well, have some crits.
Perhaps. That's kind of funny, though.
Yeah.
If it does do that, that's fantastic. Like, store them up.
But crit knife is pretty awesome, so
Yeah.
it helps.
Quick cookery.
Seeing as it is my only other weapon when I'm using the stupid backstab shield.
Yeah, I don't really use... I've always used the P-jar, but I've moved back to using the SMG on my Sniper.
The other thing I've been doing with Sniper recently is using the full stupid crocodile set.
Or what, the head stopper.
Yeah,
And the P-gun.
yeah, the P-gun. I've got quite good with the P-gun now. I used to think it was totally pointless, but then I realised what you do is like you try and just hit people with it to get the P on them, but like if you don't kill them, just no-scope them, because then you're doing mini crit damage, so you can just quickly fire off additional no-scope shots to try and finish them off.
Yeah.
Which is actually fairly effective.
Or you could presumably rapid-fire scope shots if they're trickier aim at.
Well, yeah, but rescoping takes quite a long time, relatively speaking, and it doesn't really do that much more damage until it's charged up, and that takes time in itself. So just no scope them for like 70 damage a shot. So with the mini crits, do that, and hilariously piss off other snipers, where it's like, no, you can't headshot me. The number of times where I had at least one time where I got into an epic snipe off with this one other sniper, and he just kept headshotting me every time, and I'd just end up on 1 health, and then I'd run back to a health container and restore to full health, come back out again, and then he'd headshot me again, and then I'd get him or whatever. It's like, if you just charged up fully and body shot me, I'd die, but you keep aiming at the head.
It's like, if you're using that kit, have you discovered, like, if you end up down on 1 health and then you get headshot?
No, I haven't noticed. I haven't noticed that
literally
happening.
Impossible to die from a headshot.
I've never been headshotted again while I've been on 1 health, so I don't know. Maybe because every time you get down to 1 health, you just run the fuck away.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, I'm in trouble now.
You've taken your 1 invincibility shot. But yeah, that is pretty effective.
Might try that. I don't have the full kit.
Yeah, you need the hat. That's the problem.
I don't have the hat. No.
That must be quite funny on 2 Fort servers.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're the one sniper that no one can deal with, or stupid people can't deal with,
unless they realise to body shot you.
Yeah.
I find that kind of. I'm sure it's meant to be a sort of a balance element to it, but I mean, it's like the fact that the back shield in that set gives you the 25 additional health, but that only takes you to exactly 150, which is how much a fully charged body shot does.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't prevent you from dying from a fully charged body shot, it just makes it take exactly a fully charged body shot.
Maybe if you got a tiny bit of overheal.
Yeah, I guess.
Someone kept pumping you slightly.
So yeah. That's that set. And other than that, it's all been the traditional Bonk Scouts. Because I still find that hilariously entertaining.
It is quite fun. When you're on the right conditions, I find it really difficult to play Bonk Scout properly.
Well, it is more difficult inherently by having less health.
Yeah.
What has the minus on the health? The bonk?
Yeah, the Sandman.
The Sandman. So, well, he says Bonk
Everyone
Scout,
says Bonk Scout when they mean
the
Sandman.
When you use the baseball.
To bonk people, even though that's not the bonk.
Oh, I see.
Because the bonk is the drink.
Yeah.
Because someone said that in like the chat last night. They were like, whoever's that scout doing all the bonking is doing a great job. And I'm like, now does he mean the fact that I'm stunning people, or does he mean the fact where I'm using the drink and distracting things? Because I couldn't really tell. I was doing both. But apparently I was doing good at it.
Woo! Random appraisal.
Yeah.
Rareness.
Stranger praises Zach's bonking ability.
News.
Yep. That's still awesome. Trying to get maximum range stuns.
Yeah.
Really best.
That is always satisfying.
Every time it's on, like, Thunder Mountain. Because that level is fucking huge, so there's plenty of directions you can shoot in that will get you that range. Like the classic with anyone on top of that C point at the last, where you can shoot up from spawn and immediately go and get another ball before they unstun. That was the best place. I've still only actually managed to do that to you.
Yeah, you bastard. That was fucking irritating. Oh, I'm stun locked. I can only move a tiny fraction before I get hit again.
That was hilarious. It was a pretty cool video.
Yeah.
God damn it. I was completely fucked. I couldn't do anything during that stun period.
Yeah.
It's like, and then the window was so small that eventually I managed to sneak my way
Yeah,
off.
you just grind, and then of course the ball hit does push you back very
yeah,
slightly
it has
as
a bit
well.
of momentum, yeah.
So yeah.
That was funny.
I think I got like 2 or 3 ball kills again last night, which is always funny. Critical balls are the best. 45 damage!
It's quite a lot.
Yeah. You can get ball kills quite easily with that. And I did do a classic P-snipe where I hit someone with the P-snipe and it was a heavy. Hit him with a P-snipe shot and then a scout was literally that second fired and instantly killed him. And then the scout just came running back and was like, yeah! It was like, oh, that went well. Really well. I murdered that heavy instantly. So yeah, that's Team Fortress. It's still the same.
Yep.
Still awesome, clearly. Apart from the levels. Because that's the other problem with not playing on the Hampshire Heavies. Other servers seem to have much worse level rotations. Even the ones that have, like, Rock the Vote or whatever not sometimes people it's like 50-50 as to whether people actually like a server, so the rock the vote never goes through for the people who don't like it.
Yeah.
So you end up playing stupid shit like, well, they were trying to rock the vote off of Dust Bowl last night, which is sort of, I don't know about that map. I'm 50-50 about that.
Yeah.
It's okay sometimes.
It can be okay.
It's not one of the worst maps.
No. That's fucking well.
No, well, it's fine.
No, well's annoying.
As long as it's not CTF well. In which case it's terrible.
I don't know if I've ever played CTF well.
Yes, you have.
Really? I don't remember it.
It changes the middle of the map so you don't get the whole building, you just get like the little covered shack where there's only one train line and it just goes straight through the middle.
Oh, right, so it's really thin as opposed to the...
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's only one train line, isn't it?
No, it's two. You get one on each direction, on either side of the main building. I can just not remember any of these levels.
I think I'm thinking of a different level to you. I am.
You're not thinking about Freight.
No, what's the one with the spires?
Badlands.
Oh, it's that level I mean. Well's okay.
Badlands is fine too.
Badlands is... I hate that open space near the spires. Everywhere else on that map is fine. It's just that open space near the spires becomes such a class... creates such a class problem.
I just never go there.
Yeah, it's like some classes can do well there. Like it can work if you're a spy in that area, and it
can work pretty well for soldiers. Yeah,
rocket guys are pretty good. Not so great for demos because of the height problem.
But they spam that area with tons of demo spam.
And you can fire over the corner of that building like a bastard.
Well, I don't know, demo spam doesn't work so well over such ridiculously large areas, though. If you're actually trying to make a push, then it's pretty tricky.
Yeah, you can't dislodge people off the balcony very easily there and then.
It's Sniper Haven. Snipes do really well there.
Well,
Pyros are kind of useless.
Well, Pyros are kind of useless in a lot of places.
The Heavy's not that effective there either because the range is too big. It's unless you've got like some serious support come with you.
Well, I mean, that's why I think the main problem with that whole point is that because the point is up on the spire, no one ever goes to the right. Everyone stops going through the buildings. It's like, oh no, we have to defend the spire. But you could also attack the midpoint by going through the building where you've got all that cover.
Sort of, but then you still have a stretch to the spire from there that's fairly open. You still have to walk across from right to left across the entire.
Well, I meant more for attacking than defending.
Yeah, I know, but so you've still got quite a lot of space to get across.
But you only have to, you cut out the little window from the balcony and you're straight into the houses, really.
No.
I can't remember these levels well enough.
I think the distance is quite long.
Team Fortress levels.
Because it's round you're not in sniper range anyway, because the sniper's coming down from mid or always up against the wall where the barrel is. Yes,
they're in either that middle window above the door down below, or that little bit of balcony on the right, where you can stand really far back.
Yeah, if you're coming out next to the spawn door, you're probably okay, or more okay, or just play scout.
Well, yeah, defense isn't so bad on that point, but attacking is a right bastard.
I don't know. Attacking seems to get that point quite easily most of the time. It's like that point is almost not a point to fight over.
I don't know.
You're either fighting over mid or you're fighting over last.
Well, true. But it always seems to end up being... I don't know. I think it's fine when you get to the spire that's where the sort of game sort of stalemates a bit. But then, either one team pushes in to fight towards the end. The middle, those spire points just seem to keep changing hands because it is so awkward.
Yeah, you can't really defend it. No. There's nowhere to build sentries because you can't build a sentry on the balcony because it just gets sniped and
it's too open.
Yeah,
it's exactly. That's just what it is with that point. It's too open. I don't have a problem with it being right up high on the spire. It's just there's the route to the spire is so goddamn open. It just that game does not suit open spaces.
You don't play with classes that can rocket jump though. That's where they come into it. You can just go straight onto the spire.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. The rest of that then makes the rest of the classes kind of useless at that bit.
Play scout and never go there. Just run around the back and try and poke people.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
You're not a fan of a lot of the good levels.
No, just that one.
And Granary.
Granary's okay.
Half the time you
Like
say you don't
Granary.
like that.
I have bad experiences on Granary. I don't think the level is bad. I don't enjoy it that much. Things. It seems to be one of those levels where there's usually one team rocking the other. Close matches seem few and far between on Granary. It's actually okay. I think it's alright. It's because it's fairly linear design, I suppose.
It's another level that doesn't lend itself well to defence. There's not too many corners, so you can't really get sentries in without them being easily edgeable.
It is pretty tricky. It doesn't always end up in a bit of a stalemate between middle and second.
Sometimes. Is that slightly more open area, really, again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gives you a little more space to move and shoot. So, yeah.
What else do I supposedly not like? I can't remember.
No, I can't remember. You don't like the bad levels, that's obvious. Do you like Barn Blitz? I don't think you've said an opinion on Barn Blitz really yet.
One is Barn Blitz.
The new Halo one that ends in the giant barn.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. That's a borderline level because it depends on, again, and that one's quite team dependent because there's so many of those little halfway routes.
Yeah,
that can be a right pain in the arse if your team is being dumb
yeah.
and not watching them. I tend to end up being the one that watches them because it's a good level.
Someone has to.
I enjoy playing sniper on that level quite a lot. I tend to do quite well as sniper on that one. And I actually have some fairly good runs as heavy on that one as well. It's kind of cool just to stand in the alcoves and wait for people to walk past and go blah,
Blah! Yell at them. Blah!
Yeah, I don't shoot them. I just stand there.
Just
and go,
start sending
"Blah!"
voice messages. Blah, blah.
It's a shame Team Fortress doesn't have like the old Halo 2 system of being able to hear people
Positional
nearby.
voice.
Yeah, so you can just sort of go "Rah!" out the corner. Or if you're a spy, you have to stay quiet. Like, actually stay quiet. I wish you'd be like,
As a spy, you do sort of have to stay quiet anyway, because if you send voice messages, that can totally give you away.
oh yeah, if you like stand behind a guy and just go, hello, stand. It could be quite entertaining.
I'm sure people have made key binding for that.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you push the stand button, it sends a voice message as well, just to be doubly annoying.
You got blood on my suit.
And of course, you get the classic spy tactic of while you're cloaked, start saying stuff to try and lure people away.
Yeah. That was a good one. And over here.
Yeah, basically.
That would be awesome, actually. If they had like a bit of speech that actually just says, I'm over here. Yoo-hoo.
So that's that. And just in time, too.
Oh, Team Fortress saves the day in terms of content again.
There might have been... Oh, I forgot to mention Eve, of course. The missile patch hit and...
It looked really... That actually looked... The recent changes to that, like the gun turrets and the missile turrets, actually seem to make more of a coolness impact than I first thought, really. I thought, who really cares? And it's like, actually, when you see your ship firing correctly and the bullets missing correctly, that does make quite a bit of difference to the sort of visual awesomeness.
Yeah. And then a bunch of other stuff in that patch that I don't really care about. Improved warfare mechanics and factional warfare has got improved somehow.
Makes very little difference to you.
I was thinking about because at one point I did have Dan's old character on my account in factional warfare, being a shitty frigate pilot.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I did have him in that at one point, but I might have to go back to that because I wasn't.
Gift him your stealth bomb, I think.
Yeah, he can't fly that.
Sorry,
he can't fly that, and also you can't fire the bombs in the high-tech space, so you'd have to use the stupid cruise missiles, which is only somewhat effective. But yeah, I was thinking at one point I was thinking about training him up somewhat as well. Because it's like, what skills do I even need to train on my main character any longer? It's like, I've got them all, so I might as well not and train up a secondary character. But then it's like, I'm not putting points in my main character, and that just feels wrong.
Yeah, what do you mean?
The ships kind of look a bit like a bow, so could you fit a giant boomerang?
Bombo launcher.
Well, just imagine how destructive that could be. You're firing an enormous ship-sized chunk of metal at things.
You're already firing enormous ship-sized chunks of metal at things. That's the whole point of it.
You don't really fling ships, do you?
I don't know, 1,400 mil cannons.
Well, I suppose that is frigate-sized, I guess.
Well, not quite. Not for E frigates, anyway.
They're pretty big.
Like 100 meters. Or something. Can't remember. 50, 60. For shuttles. Something like that.
I'm sure there are projectiles bigger than the frigates, or the tiniest ships.
I don't know actually, because once you get into the siege weaponry, they instead of just getting bigger, they get multiplied.
Oh,
So
right.
it's like you have like 800mm autocannons on battleships, but then once you go up to the siege autocannons, they're like 4 times 1600mm.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can we patent the boomerang?
Post this
Yeah.
podcast to yourself.
Why not?
Is that how patent? That's copyright, is it?
Oh yeah, it's the other one. I don't think you can. If you want to patent it, you have to draw a design up. So
We could do that. It's better than that.
I'm too lazy. I don't think the back of an envelope job is going to work here.
no,
Could do.
Can I patent my boomerang?
I don't know because
We'd have to describe the mechanism for that.
Yeah, do you
spinning
have to-
around that front
Yeah, we
part
have to
of
get the
boat.
metal bit right.
it's like how accurate do you have to be with a patent, really?
Fair.
Because I mean, those like perpetual
Things
motion
like-
machines, so it's not like you have to make a prototype that actually works.
That's true. What are some of those patented?
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Might
Right.
need to wrap this up.
You know, coming to the end of this cast.
That's going to just about do it.
Thank God we can open some windows
We can open some windows because it's a nice sunny day.
Fuck you,
And we-
Summer.
And we've been
Fuck you.
already.
yes, let's record some of us talking about video games while we're inside.
Ugh.
Excellent. Right, well, catch you next time on the
Any predictions
Soundcast.
for the next 2 weeks?
Dwarf Fortress.
Finishing- yes.
There you go.
More-
Either Mass Effect 3 or Saints Row the Third.
right. Look forward to that, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Click on it till it dies. That I am.